welcome to your favorite Marvel movie review podcast. That's right, the one and only Is It Kino? Avengers Endgame edition. That's right, folks. 11 years of movies, 11 years of podcasting. As you all know, we began Is It Kino. Very first episode was 2008's Iron Man. We've only ever discussed the Marvel movies, and now finally, on our 22nd episode of Is It Kino, we can conclude with Avengers Endgame. That's right, folks. I am your host, Monkey Jones. But enough about me. We have a star-studded cast of characters on the podcast today, joined as always by E-Bitch McSoy.
You know, Monkey, any part of the journey is the end, and this is the end.
That's right. Also joined...
Any part is the end.
I think he misquoted that part, but that's okay. We'll forgive him. It's his last episode. Also joining us is Mr. Florian Hersel.
I've seen the movie.
Florian, you know how in on people's Twitter bios they'll include their preferred pronouns? You should include like him, soul. There's got to be a joke with that, right? Or am I just stretching too much?
My preferred pronoun is God. Okay.
Oh, wow. Well, because you have him literally in your name, so I figured you could somehow. And also joining us is Asterios Kokonos.
Black Widow dies, Iron Man dies, Thor plays Fortnite, Hulk down. I've all been spoiled. Now you know what it feels like.
Wait, Black Widow dies?
Asterios, did you put your mic on the opposite side of the room because you knew you were going to yell? Because that was very quiet.
Yeah, I honestly did because I didn't want to blow everybody. Yeah,
You're still there.
Yeah, you're too quiet. Get closer. Well, boys, this is a 3-hour jam-packed finale film. There's a lot of stuff in it. How do we even begin a discussion of Avengers Endgame? Does anybody have any opening thoughts that they really have to get off their chest?
My opening thought is Captain America fucking his great niece?
Okay.
Come on.
What?
Wait,
Is
what?
he?
Incest, really?
No.
When he kisses and possibly fucks Sharon Carter in the Winter Soldier / Captain America Civil War.
He definitely does not fuck her. Captain America is canonically a virgin until he fucks Peggy. It's true.
He doesn't kiss Agent Carter. There's just like some will they or won't they tension.
Sharon Carter, he does. I have a picture of it.
In Civil War, they definitely kiss.
Yeah.
They kiss and say, why? That's terrible.
Yeah. It's not only terrible because he knows her great aunt, who is dying at the time.
Well, here's the way I see it, and I guess this is our review of Avengers Civil War, Captain America 3, but if you are in love with somebody, and then you end up 70 years in the future, and you meet their relative who looks just like them, and they want to bang you, like, why not just, give yourself some closure and bang that chick?
Wow. All right.
Why not?
I mean, I guess it is the ultimate upgrade if you think about it. Like younger, hotter, blonder niece, although not British.
Oh, man.
Better teeth, I guess.
If we're going to talk about Captain America's strange choices, I guess we'll jump straight to the very end of the film, and obviously there's spoilers, since we should probably put spoilers in the title of the iTunes upload, because the stereo spoiled all the deaths in the film, and the dabbing and the Fortnite. But
I was really, Monkey, I was shocked in the scene where middle-aged Captain America saw a bunch of terrorists walk by into Flight 93, and he did nothing to stop them.
I was going to say the same fucking thing. That we talked in the last episode, we talked a lot about the Twin Towers and 9/11's impact on Watchmen, so I'm glad Asterios is here.
Yeah.
Asterios, how do you feel that Captain America now canonically sat back and watched 9/11 happened when he knew it was coming?
Forget that. I mean, there's also the My Lai massacre. They could have gone, but I mean, he spends the whole movie. He spends all of the first Captain America movie trying to stop Hitler, and it's like you couldn't have gone back in time and broke one of that guy's paintings over your knee and then slashed his throat with your cool shield. There's all sorts of shit they didn't do.
The argument I keep seeing is, Captain America has saved the world so many times, he has earned his a second chance at life with his lady love. But I'm thinking, this is not the Captain America I know. The Captain America I know wants to protect and save everybody, no matter the cost, whatever it takes. You give that man fucking time machine powers? You tell me he's not gonna go stop World War II? He's not gonna stop the World Trade Center because he doesn't want to impact the timeline? That's millions of innocent people, Cap. Why? You wanted to go bang some chick for 80 years? There's millions of dead innocent people. What are you doing?
Not only 9/11, but the two wars that sprung from 9/11.
Yeah, 9/12 and 9/13.
Well, you know, this thing is just he keeps trying to save these people, but it just won't work because the causality is in place. So these things are gonna happen, and he's just there, fucking powerless, unable to stop it, and he's suffering. And the only comfort he has is that girl he gets to bang.
One of the only times I'll actually say Florian is right.
Whoa!
Yeah. The way
Yes.
time travel works,
I-
according
yeah,
to
I-
this movie, you can't change the past because it is your past. Like, you can't change how you lived, essentially.
Well, except for the fact that this is complete bullshit and they changed the time plenty. Do they even bring back the stones? They obviously didn't need to bring back the stones because the stones don't even matter because they killed Thanos, so they can't even go back. It doesn't matter.
Well,
it is
Asterios, what were you
nonsense.
gonna say? We cut you off.
I was gonna say that yeah, like, you know, whether or not it's like script sound, you know, they go out of their way to say like you can't affect the past. But the other thing is, I do think that the next Captain America movie that stars Chris Evans, because there's a really great series of Captain America comics where, much like in I forget the name of that book, but Captain America becomes unstuck in time. And there's like this series of comics where like Captain America is like quantum leaping throughout time, like stopping Hitler, kissing babes, kissing Hitler.
Oh, like a real hero would.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, everyone is saying this is like the end of Chris Evans. I think we're probably going to get two Captain America movies out of this. One starring Sam Wilson and one starring a time displaced Chris Evans.
Well, we're gonna get a TV show with Anthony Mackie, Falcon.
I think that was counter intel because
really?
No, listeners, what Erich is referring to is the fact that like at D23 they said they were going to make an Anthony Mackie like series about the Falcon, but before
and
this
the Winter
movie
Soldier
came out, and the Winter Soldier, right? But before this movie came out, it was also leaked that they'd also leaked the name of an actor that was cast in the Black Widow movie. And obviously, that's not going to happen. Interestingly,
no, I think it is. I think
No, it's
I
a
think
prequel. It's a
they're still
prequel.
gonna make a Black Widow movie.
Really?
I
Yeah,
wouldn't
it's a
doubt
prequel.
it.
How do they manage?
I
Damn.
mean, these people they don't fake announce movies. Like I thought Spider-Man Far From Home, maybe that could have been a fake announce. No, it's a real movie. Like they're not that clever.
I can refer to two fake announcements. One
From Marvel
is that Marvel's done. One was they said that like there was this one character in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I forget his name, but there were a bunch of fake leaks that were like, this guy's going to be in Avengers 2. And then he died. That guy died in the season finale before Avengers 2 even came out. And the second thing is something that Whedon said. I know everybody's worried that Coulson's going to die in Avengers. He will never die in Avengers, trust me. And then he died in Avengers. And at the time, people didn't know that he'd be coming back for the TV show. So like, I think that like fake rumor and fake casting is something is like a tool of the Disney playbook.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I feel like the lying about a movie that's about to come out is kind of different because you're not going to say, oh yeah, Phil Coulson died. Like, they're not going to, if you asked Anthony and Joe Russo who's going to die in Endgame, they wouldn't be like, oh yeah, we'll tell you exactly who dies. They're going to lie. Like, they're going to like say things that obviously aren't true because they want to protect the movie.
Well, let me put this question into the atmosphere and see how many of you will suck up the helium and float away with it. Was it a mistake for Captain America to bequeath, to pass on the mantle, to give the shield to the Falcon, thus making him literally Captain Falcon, folks? We're going to get a Captain Falcon movie.
Falcon Punch!
Instead of, in my opinion, giving it to somebody who is identical to Captain America in terms of fighting technique, powers. He has a cool metal arm. Why did the Winter Soldier not become the new Captain America? Because Falcon, he flies around with mechanical wings. I don't think he needs a shield.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, actually. Damn. Wait, what happened to Bucky, anyways? Was he in this?
Yes.
Dude, there's too many characters. I can't keep track.
In the scene, Bucky did not want the responsibility of being Captain America because he told Falcon, "No, you go talk to him," which is weird. Captain America's whole arc is about him wanting to save Bucky. We have 3 movies about him and Bucky's relationship. Sam's just a guy he met 4 years ago while jogging. I thought it was a strange choice that they would give it to him and not to, just narratively speaking. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that's definitely weak that they did that. Well, I guess we'll see what he does with this gift.
I think they just want to differentiate it. Like, yeah, I got another white guy playing Captain America. It'll be like, people will get confused which Captain America you're talking about at times.
Well, because they're both white.
If you have Black Captain America on stuff from now on, it'll be easier to like distinguish who was who when, essentially.
At least canonically in the comics, they have both become Captain America. Like at one point, Winter Soldier's Cap, at another point, Falcon is Cap. I really don't think that they laid the groundwork super cleanly for either, because I mean, most of what we see with the Winter Soldier is him like murdering Tony Stark's parents, whereas like with Falcon, we see Falcon like in Civil War side with Cap, get arrested and go to underground secret shield jail for Captain America. It's but I mean, I agree that like I don't think either of them earned it emotionally over the course of these films.
Just in terms of fighting style, they both Cap and Bucky have the same super serum, so they're like the same guy with the same powers. I don't know why Captain America would be a guy flying around with mechanical wings.
I'm sure
they don't have this. They don't have the same super serum actually. Like Bucky. Because the only person that has a super serum is Captain America, because Hydra immediately killed Dr. Erskine. The way that Bucky was kept young is they would use him for a mission and then immediately put him in the freezer for like 20 years. And they'd be like, oh, okay, now you got to go kill someone else's parents.
Are you sure? I'm pretty sure he has the super serum too. Because
he's
just as strong.
Somehow.
He might have the Russian knockoff of the super serum.
Yeah, maybe.
Amazing.
Because he's got a metal arm and
adamantium arm.
Wasn't he? Well, wait.
Or is it vibranium?
I think it's vibranium rather than adamantium.
Really? Everything's vibranium?
I don't think
it might
his
be
arm...
adamantium.
No, I don't think his arm's vibranium, because how would the Nazis have had Wakandan metal? What? Who cares? It doesn't matter.
The Nazis had everything.
I want to move on.
It wouldn't be adamantium because Marvel doesn't have the rights to that kind of thing.
I want to move on because E-Rich, in answering my question, brought in some sort of, and I hate to do this, we never do this on the show, but he brought up some political discourse in a way. He thought politically motivated choice. So, speaking of politically motivated choices in these movies, I want to talk about my favorite scene, perhaps in all of Marvel. I think it was very empowering to a minority of people who are underrepresented in film. The scene during the big final battle where every single female character teams up to help Captain Marvel. What'd you guys think of that? I thought it was just such a great sight for all those girls in the audience. They finally see themselves being badass on screen together.
I think you have to earn that scene a bit more than they did in the movie. I think it would be cool if they were like coordinating something and they said, we need somebody to do this. And like, it just happened that all of the women people on the team could do those things. And then you have some kind of action shot at the end of them all together once they've all done the thing they needed to do.
You think in terms of the relevance of the story, the fact that all of these characters pop up out of nowhere, even though we just saw Ant-Man and the Wasp trying to hotwire a van, and then 1 second later, the Wasp pops up to be in the all-girl shot. You think maybe within the narrative of the film that might have been a little jarring or misplaced?
No, what he was really trying to say is that the wage gap is earned. The women weren't working hard enough to get this moment. He said it wasn't earned, right?
Wait, what?
Asterios, what do you think? You're a young girl.
Well, this is the. I kind of figured that we would talk about this scene, so I
Oh,
started
really?
a timer.
Yeah, you figured that we would bring this up.
Yeah. I like I started a timer countdown to how long until Mumkey brings this up, and it was about 11 minutes in.
Yeah.
Right now we've been discussing this so far for about 1:30.
And it was
I think
about
we
a
should
minute
write-
long, right? The scene itself was about a minute long,
yeah,
right?
And the
Right.
scene itself was maybe about 30 or 45 seconds.
Yeah, in a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, in a 3-hour and 20-minute film. But yeah, what I'd say is this: if you found that triggering, it's not a scene for you. Like, it's fan service.
Yeah.
A scene
this entire
that's
movie
a
is
scene
basically
that is
that.
not.
I wouldn't say triggering.
Yeah.
I would say it's unnecessarily pandering, as if women need to be like spoon-fed. Oh, look, you can be heroes too, when really just having them fight side by side with the other men make them equal. Like, all heroes are the same regardless of gender.
But would you say that when there are 3 or 4 or 5 men all standing side by side and doing cool things, is that the same kind of pandering?
Yeah. For example, when Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man are all beating up Thanos, and there's a scene with 4 dudes in it fighting, like, I wonder why that's not as triggering to you.
Well,
I mean, it's
because
just
the
so
difference
like-
is that all of those characters have had movies
It just
before.
doesn't. It doesn't stick out to you, right? It doesn't feel different.
Okay, sorry, brief technical difficulty, but the point I'm making is you seem to be blaming me for Marvel's fake wokeness, Asterios. It's not my fault that Marvel, out of their 22 movies, has made 21 movies about male heroes. So then in the big climactic finale, when they shoehorn in, breaking the old rules of what is happening in the narrative, they shoehorn in a scene where every, I guess, side female hero teams up together. It feels unearned because those fake woke people at Marvel haven't made any fucking female hero movies. If that's why when the 3 male heroes are fighting together, it doesn't seem jarring because they've been fighting together for 22 movies already.
Okay, so your solution to the fact that Marvel doesn't highlight female characters enough is to, the one time they do highlight female characters, call it out and call it fake.
Yeah,
I had no idea
because they fucking are
such a
tricking people
feminist.
like you into thinking they're woke. They're being
I had
fake
no idea you
woke
were
to
such a-
trick you into thinking they are, when really they haven't earned what they're doing.
Monkey
They
Jones,
didn't
feminist
fucking
hero,
earn it.
Standing up for female characters.
I
Like,
think I am. I think I am. You're accepting a pandering message when I'm saying, no, you have to earn it and just make them equal to the other characters.
I mean, that, like, honestly, that is a very common argument. Like with, like, for example, when Black female Iron Woman Man came out, everyone was calling it like forced diversity. This is so forced. Thank God the alt-right wasn't around before Black Spider-Man came out, because everyone would be like, they're only making him black because it's forced diversity, pandering.
Yeah, but if you listen back to
Female Thor is
Asterios,
forced diversity.
Asterios,
Black
if you
Captain
listen
America
back
is
to
forced
our
diversity.
Spider-Man review, none of us ever said anything about him being black because it's fine.
Oh,
they earned it.
I know.
This movie, they didn't
I know,
earn it.
and
It's not like I'm being a hypocrite here. I'm very,
I know,
very
but the
consistent
reason-
with my opinions.
But the reason nobody said that is because Black Spider-Man came out in the mid-2000s, before, like, the internet went to hell and the alt-right ruined everything.
You think that's the reason
Like,
why nobody on Is It Kino said that?
I
don't.
honestly
That's
think
fucking
that it
stupid.
wasn't
You're wrong.
I think it wasn't a thought meme at the time, but when Jane Foster was made Thor a little bit later, when Sam Wilson was made, like, because there was a summer in Marvel Comics a couple of years ago where it was like, we had Black female Iron Man, Black Captain America, and Lady Thor, and everybody lost their goddamn minds. By the way, we're at 6 minutes and 20 seconds of discussing a 30-second long shot in a movie.
Well, I do want to say something real quick about that scene. Why is it so wrong to have side characters from movies do things together? What's the problem?
Because
inherent to that?
they're tricking you guys into thinking they're woke. They think they can get away with making 21 movies focused on men and then give you, like you're saying, you're trying to make a good point. Oh, it's 30 seconds. Don't focus on it. No, that is the point. They're tricking you with a 30-second scene into thinking they're woke and that they're being equal to women. When in reality, they get one movie out of 22 and they get a 30-second scene fighting together. And you guys think that's enough. That's fucking ridiculous.
We didn't bring it up.
We didn't bring it up. Feminist hero Monkey Joe. Monkey, thank you.
You can
so
say
much
that
for standing-
sarcastically, but you guys are like, you guys are doing the opposite of feminism.
I mean, Monkey, I understand that you only review films that pass the Bechdel test. I know that, like, for the longest time you said, I mean, here's what we know about Monkey Jones. He has always called for more female-led films, not just in the one scene of the Avengers that's for some reason made his dick feel small. Like, he's consistently wanted more Marvel female-led movies. And so...
Okay. No, we heard the ad hominem version of your argument. Let's hear you actually address my points now.
Sure. Okay, I'll address your point like this.
Good luck.
Fan service. Not all fan service is for everybody. In Avengers 1, there's a scene where Black Widow is tied up in a little black dress. Like, that's fan service for boys. And in this movie, there's a scene where there's like a classic Marvel Comics girl power moment. That, by the way, happens in every major Marvel Comics crossover. There's always like a scene where if you read these comics, there's always a scene where all the lady X-Men, you see them in a big splash panel, and it's fun. It's like, yeah, it's mindless fan service. There's a lot of mindless fan service in these mindless superhero movies. And the reason it stuck out to you is because it wasn't specifically targeting you.
No, you're wrong. You can't just say that like it's the fact. That's not why I have a problem with it.
Becoming a minority. Oh no, are we being replaced?
You can't just make arguments on my behalf and attribute them to me. I never said anything like that.
But you're saying that I liked it because I thought it was woke. I mean, that's you making an argument on my behalf.
But the reason why you actually like it is because it's a mindless fan service that you can shut your brain off and enjoy. Is that what you're saying?
I like seeing a lot of the favorite characters that I have in these movies do things together.
You like these characters, jeez.
It's the reason it didn't stick out to me, but I knew it would stick out to you, which is why I said to myself when I was about to go to this episode of Is It Kino, make sure to start a timer before we get into this argument.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I was just like, yep, there's some fan service. I hope some girls in the audience like this.
Yeah. You hope the little girls like being spoon-fed instead of actually getting female-focused superhero movies?
I think we can do both. I mean, for me,
I wish they would do both. I wish they would have earned it by actually doing both, but they didn't. And you're accepting it as being okay, and I'm saying it's not.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you this. Like, I'm someone who's actually done casting and written, like, commercials that have been seen around the world. And what I do is this. Like, sometimes I'll just write in, this character's black. Or if there's a scene where two people kiss, I'll write in, this is a gay couple. Now, people often accuse me of like, is this just pandering? Is this just fake diversity? Are you putting in two gay characters kissing instead of a straight couple kissing because, you're just trying to like stack the deck and make up for the fact that advertisers never targeted these segments? And my answer is always just like, well, everything looks forced if you're looking for it. I put in a gay couple kissing in this commercial because it's like, unfortunately, that's the only way we're ever going to get any kind of diversity is if somebody literally just writes in, they are gay or they are black. And like one of the ways that we get to good, even feminism is through this kind of like, forced, maybe obvious proto-feminism of all the girls punch someone. Like, yeah, maybe 10 years from now, that scene won't stick out to you because it won't have to. It'll just be so normal to have a scene where 10 girls punch people.
Like, for some reason, the new version of diversity is segregation. I think if you want to be a true feminist moment, why not have all the men and women together the whole time? Why do we need to segregate and give the women all their own little scene together?
Right, egalitarianism. The entire time. The classic egalitarianism argument.
See, you always say these things like, you sarcastically say, oh yeah, egalitarianism. That is legitimately the correct way of being, where everybody is equal. I don't know how that's a joke to anybody.
Well, I mean, if it was correct, then it would be happening. But like,
that's not right. What logic is that? If something is correct, it would be happening. That's never been true in the history of humanity.
Well, I mean, so you're saying that pure equality would be better. Well, how do we get there? Like, we get there through
segregation.
More things like this. More things like this, essentially.
I mean, the thing is, like, I'm sure a lot of people were like, hey, this Jackie Robinson guy's only been put on this team because he's black. Oh, people are only going to see him in this baseball game because he's black. It's like, yeah, well, you got to start somewhere. I mean, yeah, there was only one black baseball player at one point. I'm sure people called it forced diversity, pandering, a stunt, marketing, appealing to woke 1940s whites.
The difference
But then
here
eventually we
is
got two
Jackie
black
Robinson.
baseball players and
Asterios, let me
four.
destroy your metaphor real quick. Jackie Robinson was the
Sure.
one black guy on an all-white baseball team. This was all Jackie Robinsons. It'd be like if 12 black guys came together and they said, "Yeah, this is a diverse team." It's not.
Yeah, but you know how, like, when Captain Marvel came out, you've been doing nothing but making fun of it, like, before and since? It's like, that was the first female-led Marvel superhero movie, and you guys on Is It Kino have been mocking it pretty consistently.
We liked Wonder Woman. Just because Captain Marvel's a bad movie doesn't mean, it's because
I just didn't like that
but-
movie.
Yeah, the movie was bad.
No, granted. But you guys also, when you make fun of Captain Marvel, you're not always making fun of it because it's a bad movie. Like, a lot of times, you bring up Captain Marvel, like, in a sarcastic way because, you're making fun of the fact that a lot of women liked the movie and, it kind of resonated with them. Like, Captain Marvel stuck out to you guys because it felt weird and forced and girl powery. A lot of people made fun of, like, the Shiro language and this and that. And a lot of people are calling Captain Marvel OP. Why does she have to be the strongest? Is it because she's a woman? It's kind of like, you can't win. When there's a scene that has all these female characters punching people, you call it out as forced diversity. But when Marvel makes 20 movies that star males and then one movie that stars a female, everybody calls that out too.
Holy
It's
shit,
like,
man.
I don't know what you guys want.
I want.
How long does this rant have to be? Jesus fuck.
No,
you
because-
start a timer and then you rant for 10 minutes.
As of right now, it's 14 minutes long.
Yeah, thanks to you. No one
Asterios-
else can get a word in.
The problem with Captain Marvel is not.
I'm not the one that raised this question.
The
I'm
problem
just
with
one
Captain
who's
Marvel
confused
is
about
not
it.
that she is a woman. It's that the movie is bad. It's boring. The character is overpowered, unrelated to their gender. The character is overpowered, which makes her boring. Captain Marvel has never faced a foe that was an actual threat to her because she can go Super Saiyan, Magic Star Mario, and destroy everything. That's a very boring character. She's just the
That's
Marvel
not the
version of
character's
Superman.
fault. That's not the character's fault.
It's
That's
the
how
writer's
character
fault.
is.
It's the director's fault. That's
Well,
why
no,
the
I mean,
character
that
is not interesting.
Captain Marvel is literally Marvel Comics' Superman.
Yeah, and Superman's
yeah.
the most boring DC character there is.
No,
not
Superman
told
is
well.
fine, but Captain Marvel is not fine. Captain Marvel is a piece of shit character. You say this is forced diversity, whatever, it doesn't matter. Look at Wonder Woman. They had an island full of Amazon warriors, and that was fucking fine. And then we have...
No, it was not fine. There were tons of people who were complaining about Wonder Woman when it came out.
Really? Because that movie
Yes.
was... Everyone likes
Yeah,
that. Come on,
And
man.
it's serious. There were definitely people who were upset that there was a black Spider-Man too. Like when that was first announced, when Bendis was writing
I've
Miles.
never
and
heard of
introducing
this.
Miles.
Come on, man.
Oh, I mean, there were, but there was no like online echo chamber to kind of amplify that like crazy, like there is now.
Yeah, the
I mean,
alt-right like didn't exist as of then, but if you went into any comment section, it was a trash fire.
I'm pretty sure the
Oh,
alt-right
yeah.
existed for a while now.
Yeah, but I mean, Black Spider-Man came out like maybe a couple of years after 9/11. Like it was way before Gamergate, which is kind of like the birth of the modern alt-right.
Much.
But I mean, Monkey, I think it's disingenuous to say that you've never made a joke about Captain Marvel that has had nothing to do. I mean, yeah, you don't like that movie. I think that a lot of the jokes you've made about Captain Marvel aren't that the movie's bad. I think you just kind of like tweaking feminists. I mean, it's the same reason that you went on that campaign about like, oh, if Black Panther wins an Oscar, I'll eat my hat or whatever. Like what you're doing there is you're tweaking like progressives on the internet that happen to like Black Panther.
No,
Well, Black
what I'm
Panther-
doing is I'm fighting back against people who are saying a 6 out of 10 or a 7 out of 10 movie is best picture worthy because of its diversity. I think that is very shallow thinking, and that movies should be judged based on their quality, not based on the color or the gender of their cast.
Yeah, but The Blind Side was also, I mean, there's been so many movies nominated for Best Picture that are bad. I mean, the reason that you make fun of Black Panther and the reason that like you get kind of a charge or a little thrill out of it is because you're tweaking like progressives on the internet. Like, it's the same reason people said Wakanda isn't real. Like, yes, granted, Wakanda isn't real. Nobody thinks Wakanda is real. Like, that's a factual statement. But the reason the alt-right loves that phrase is because it's a way to like tweak and flick at online progressives. And it works. They take the bait every time. I mean, it's fun to trigger people. We're at 17 minutes, by the way, of this discussion.
Yeah, thanks to you. You think we could just kick Asterius now? I think this is getting out of hand. These are literally bad movies, okay? Black Panther was not good. Captain Marvel was not good. They're fucking overhyped, and of course we're gonna attack the fact that they're overhyped for no fucking reason. Why not? Come on, we review movies
Harold
here.
and Kumar Go to White Castle is also not a good movie, but you guys don't bring that up nearly as much.
It's not overhyped. No one cares about it.
It wasn't nominated for Best Picture.
I mean, do you want me to pull up a list of other Best Picture nominees that are bad? I
No.
mean, Crash won.
No,
Best
we don't need
Picture.
any
You guys-
whataboutism right here.
All right. Everybody shut up. E-Rich, what else do you want to talk about in this movie? We've covered 2 moments.
All right, and that is 18 minutes of a 30-second scene. And by the way, Florian, I'm not the one that brought up the girl power scene. Monkey
No, you're
Jones
just the
is.
one who won't shut up about it.
Well, if he's going to bring it up, I mean, I feel like we have to discuss
E-Rich.
Monkey, as a fan of Back to the Future, how did you like the time travel in this movie?
Well, as you guys may recall, I said that, what was that called? Happy Death Day 2 was Back to the Future Kino. And this movie
is
very similarly, it's Back to the Future 2 Kino. I predicted this on Boomer versus Zoomer. We'll talk about that on the next Boomer Zoomer. I predicted that the movie would be them going back in time to the other movies. And did I like it? Yes. I liked seeing the procedural happenings of what happens sort of behind the scenes. You have Joss Whedon's Avengers, where they have this shot of all the Avengers standing in front of Loki, and they're all pointing their weapons at him, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, this is a cool looking shot. But realistically, what is happening, like, in the reality of the film? This is kind of awkward. Why are they all just standing like this for so long? So then in this movie, they go back and there's like a little line like Iron Man says, man, we sure did stand in front of Loki for a long time doing nothing. And then when you see the fake SHIELD agents come in and retrieve the stuff, I thought that was cool to see the kind of stuff that the movies wouldn't usually bother with, because it's sort of the minutia of the reality.
Right. I mostly don't have a problem with the time travel in the movie. It essentially is using the Bill and Ted rules of time travel, which is you can take anything you want from the past as long as you put it back then.
Sure.
Man, I gotta disagree here entirely. I think this movie was just jerking it off the entire time, but then it couldn't come because it didn't have any balls. It went back to revisit these movies the entire time, these pivotal moments in the other movies, and it's like, oh, look at these movies. Oh, look how much our characters have come now. Oh, Hulk, he doesn't want to smash anymore. Now he's gonna tap the card gay. No,
That was my favorite part of the movie.
Oh my god.
Half Hulk, half Banner, like unenthusiastically started to smash. It was great.
Well, let me explain to you why it didn't have any balls. You see,
okay.
When in Infinity War they killed off half the cast, that had balls. That was great. But in
What about
this
the entire
movie,
first hour of this movie when they're dealing with that fact?
well, they're not really dealing with that fact.
Yes, they are.
I think this was, well, it was pretty weak, and they just brought them back. All they did was just travel back in time to bring back all the guys. They just fought so hard to just undo everything. It would have been way cooler if they would have just had to live with it. And they've had 1 hour in this. Why didn't we see more movies where they actually have to pick up the pieces? Why couldn't we have seen like a Captain America trying to pick up the pieces of this broken world but not getting anywhere because the other people won't talk to him, or anything cool like that? All we get is just this movie where they just waste time in this already long movie going back to the past and just thinking about all the things that happened. And then they just reverse it all, so nothing happened. It would have been way cooler if they just had the future Marvel Universe with now half the characters. And that would have been better too, because there's too many fucking superheroes in the Marvel Universe. It would have been so smart to just cull the herd, just take off half of them. It would have been great.
I actually don't disagree with most of what you said, even though I was like angry at you there. Because you're right. Like the idea of half the population disappearing and how everybody has to get used to that and figure out how to move on from that is a great idea. But that's why I loved the first hour of this movie, which it was what everybody did in response to that. Clint Barton goes on a fucking insane murdering spree in Japan, killing a bunch of Yakuza dudes, and he's gone to the dark side because he lost his family. Like, I love that shit because it's like an alternate universe take. This is how these characters react when the worst possible thing happens to you. My favorite ever TV show is The Leftovers, and the first hour of this movie was essentially The Leftovers in the Marvel Universe. So I did really enjoy that they actually dealt with the fallout from the end of the last movie.
Man, wouldn't it have been so cool if we could have seen a whole movie about that guy killing the Yakuzas? Wouldn't that have been way better than wasting like an hour in already bloated movie for that?
But we need to wait like 5 years to get to Endgame then. Like, you'd need to have so many movies or TV shows in between that. Like, that would be insane.
I think it'd be interesting if they did like a Disney Plus miniseries, like after the snap or something, and it's an anthology where we see, you know, each character gets an hour-long episode and we see what they did for those 5 years. That could be a cool idea.
Yeah, that's great.
I think we're gonna end up seeing a lot of stuff like this. This is the first Marvel movie, because you know what? Whenever they do like a big crossover in the comic books, they always try to launch like 5 books out of it. And I mean, this is the first Marvel movie we're seeing that is like pulling off that comic book trick. Like, we're clearly going to see as Guardians of the Galaxy. We're going to see Captain America fighting through time. We're going to see cool new Black Captain America. You know, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if. Oh yeah, we're going to see WandaVision, which is based on those cool Tom King comics.
Oh, those comics are amazing.
Yeah, if we explored those 5 years, I mean, like, because they start to explore a little bit in the comics with like Captain America's support group that he has at Shea Stadium, and it's really powerful and really cool.
And if I can mention non-forced diversity, during that scene where Captain America is doing the support group, one of the Russo brothers, one of the directors of the film, he's playing a gay character, and that wasn't forced. It's just a character who's gay. 18 gay guys didn't show up all together to fight together. It was just a character who was gay. And I was okay with that, Asterio. He's going to call me alt-right again, motherfucker! Am I alt-right now?
He's never been in a movie before. He's never been in any of these movies. How are you supposed to handle the fact that he's suddenly there? He suddenly appeared.
Because he's a character who's in just one scene for a second and he has one line.
All the female characters who were in that like big battle scene were already established as they're having superpowers, and
I don't want to talk about this again, E-Rich. I could bring up that none of them have ever met each other before, and it doesn't make sense that the Wasp would abandon Ant-Man, who she's helping.
The Avengers is entirely about a group of heroes who've never met each other before. Like, you could make this argument for.
I think you're wrong, but let's move
All right.
on. We'll save this for part 2, Infinity War discussion part 2.
Yeah, why don't you just bring that on Boomer versus Zoomer, where you talk about forced diversity for 10 hours?
Yeah. So, this movie's not only Back to the Future 2 Kino, it's Interstellar Kino! That's right,
shit.
folks! Interstellar.
Oh, no.
Movies where parents don't age, but their kids do, and they find out all in a second, and they see that their kids are all grown up, even though they haven't aged a day. I love that shit. It hardly ever happens in movies. We have it in Interstellar. And now in this movie, Ant-Man, he's been gone for 5 years, but for him it's been 5 minutes, folks. And he gets to see his daughter all grown up. I love that kind of shit. It
also works as an Ant-Man joke because he is a character that shrinks and grows, and he got to see his daughter grow in about 5 seconds worth of time.
Wow. Joke's so funny I didn't laugh.
Pottery.
That is, I enjoyed how subtle but awesome. Like, they are very clearly setting the stage for Young Avengers as well.
Right.
Young Avengers is another really cool comic series where like Hawkeye and the Vision are like the camp counselors of this group of cool Young Avengers. And Cassie Lang, like, she's gonna get an Iron Man suit. In the opening scene, we see Hawkeye and his daughter. She's gonna become
Mini Hawkeye. Oh wait.
Yeah, I forget I want to say spoiler, but I know that's from the Batman comics. But but I mean, I think maybe she'll just also be called Hawkeye.
Yeah, doesn't she at some point Or isn't it Kate? There's a Kate character that takes over for Hawkeye. It's not his daughter. It's just a woman that he trains.
Yeah, I think that instead of Kate, they're going to use his daughter. You know, it's like I don't think we'd have a
Right.
scene where she was learning to shoot arrows if like they weren't eventually going to give her the bow.
Well, what else
it's-
is Hawkeye
it's-
going to do to bond with his kids, though? I think that's all Hawkeye does is just shoot arrows all day.
Oh yeah, the chat is saying Kate Bishop. Yeah, I think that like she's very clearly like standing for Kate Bishop.
Right.
You know, from what is it, from Black Panther, we've got the young girl who's good with technology, like you know,
Shuri,
she'll be
yeah.
their Tony Stark. I just, you know, I think that this movie was so great, not in that it provided closure, but it also provided a million new openings, and it's like
Yeah.
this movie it was like it's a screenwriting accomplishment and like an accomplishment in acting, in editing, in like the music was great, the visual effects were incredible. It's just it was. I wonder if it will win Best Picture this year.
No.
Just because. I mean, I think it'll at least be nominated.
No,
Lord of
because
the
it
Rings, Return of the King, my brother.
No, this cape shit will not be nominated. Infinity War is a better film, and that wasn't nominated.
Return of the King swept the Oscars.
Return of
even
the King
though-
is much more prestigious and respected than I think like a cape shit movie like this. I don't think the Academy is going to nominate
They said the same
Endgame.
exact thing about fantasy movies before that one.
Yeah, but Lord of the Rings was way
Okay,
better.
no, Everidge, put your fucking money where your mouth is, then, motherfucker. $25. You give me $25 if they don't nominate Endgame.
Is just nominated. Yeah, if it's nominated, I will totally put
Oh,
25.
Easy, easiest
Black
$25
Panther
I've ever
last
made.
year. Black Panther opened up the fucking floodgates, and
No.
this year the Oscars are looking to get more normie bait.
You have no idea how wrong you are, and it's gonna be delicious. I guess a year from now, when I take my $25 and I guess what's the worst thing I could do with Everidge's $25 to make him mad? Like donate it to like a charity that supports white men or something.
Is there such a thing?
Not anymore. It's been made illegal, I think.
Milo
alt-right
Yiannopoulos
charity.
was supposed to do that, but then he ended up just stealing all the money.
Yeah.
Milo Yiannopoulos took a bunch of money he was going to give to like poor white males who couldn't get into college, and then he just ran away with the money.
I mean, he is a white male though, so it's not like it was false advertising. A white male did benefit.
Plan.
True,
you
he
give
did help
it-
a white male.
If you gave it to Milo, that would be about the worst thing that you could do with it.
I'll buy a bunch of copies of his book.
Yeah.
Dangerous Friend, I think is what it's
think-
called.
I think that this movie will be nominated. I don't know if it'll win. Like, I wasn't a humongous fan of the Lord of the Rings movies. I thought the first one was just terrible. I thought the second one was
wow.
better, and the third one was great.
Jeez.
But you know, the reason it won was as a nod to the series as a whole. Like, they weren't saying Return of the King is the greatest movie. They were saying, we like that you did this. We like that you made these crazy movies out in the woods and revolutionized visual effects. So here you go. You know, it's kind of like how often a movie that is awesome but not famous will get the best screenplay award. Like Rushmore won for best screenwriting. Lost in Translation won for best screenwriting. They didn't win best picture. You know, it's kind of just like hey, we see it. Here's a nod. So I think it'll get. I don't think it'll win because I think that'll be too obvious. But I do think it'll get a nod.
Are you willing to put $25 on the line?
Oh yeah, that it'll get nominated. Yes,
Oh.
I don't think it'll win. But
Okay,
I'll bet
so
25 that it
so
gets
a
nominated.
year from
There's
now-
10.
So a year from now, I'm gonna spend $50 on Milo Yiannopoulos books. Is what I'm hearing right now.
It'll be your
Amazing.
money at that point. Go ahead.
Yep. It's
Like for me, Endgame is the culmination of 22 movies that Marvel has put out, and they've really, I think, built up this huge audience and this huge like it is not like hated by critics. It is still pretty highly esteemed, regardless. Audiences
Sure.
love it. Like I think
I don't disagree.
everybody pretty much comes up around these movies and says they're really good. So like I think you could definitely say Titanic is a better movie, but I think that's as audience bait type of movie that won the best picture of the year it came out, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Because what's his name? The director literally said, "I'm king of the world" at the
Yeah.
Oscars when he won.
Right.
Okay, well, I guess we'll leave the bet at that. You guys think it'll be nominated? I don't think it will. I guess we'll come back a year from now and See who was right. I want to talk about Asterios, a character I think you can relate to more than anybody else. Boomer Thor. Thor becomes Thor becomes a boomer in this movie, and I'm really excited to talk about that.
I mean, he looks like Lebowski, and they even call him out as Lebowski. It's fucking fantastic. I thank God that like they're letting Chris Hemsworth be funny. He was the only funny person in Lady Ghostbusters, a movie that had 4 professional female comedians in it, and he was the only one getting laughs in any of his goddamn scenes. It's amazing that they've discovered that Chris Hemsworth is good at comedy. Like the scene where he's like trying to tell his mom, like, I'm not from the future, and then he immediately goes, yes, I am.
I want to talk about the character arc of Thor, because at first, when we see Fat Thor, at first I thought, oh no, because we just had Ragnarok and then Infinity War, and in those movies, Thor becomes the most tragic Shakespearean character of all time. 5 years ago, this guy's 8,000 years old. And in the last 5 years, his mother died, his father died, his brother died,
Half of his people died.
No, 3/4 of his fucking people died.
Oh, really?
Well,
Where are
because
the other?
Thanos cut them in half
from?
once, and then again with the snap. So 3/4 of his people have died.
Oh, you're right! Holy shit!
How many of them are alive now?
Enough to fill out a small town in fucking Norway. The fuck?
Well, they didn't snap anyone back to life.
Oh, no, they did, because a bunch of Asgardians are fighting in the final scene.
Right. But then, on top of all of that, Thor feels the weight, the burden of the entire universe. He was the one who had the Thanos killing weapon, and he missed. He had his shot to save the universe, and he missed. And as a result, trillions of people are killed. I don't think any character in any piece of fiction has ever suffered and failed as much as Thor in these movies. And I sincerely mean that. Who has ever had the guilt and weight of trillions of deaths on their shoulders because they failed?
Star-Lord.
Well,
he got snapped, so he goes out.
So I'm thinking. To complete my thought here, I'm thinking, okay, so Thor is the most tragic character in any of these movies. So now to see him as a fat comic relief, I'm thinking, well, they ruined it. But then I think about it a little bit more, and I realize, no, this is logical, and this is great. He is so broken. The god of thunder, this heroic king of Asgard, has been reduced to a fat, alcoholic Asperger slob, fucking playing Fortnite, streaming it for donations on YouTube. So fucking pathetic. Somebody would have to fail in the magnitude of trillions of innocent lives lost to become that fucking pathetic. A fat alcoholic playing Fortnite. So I think that was the perfect logical next step for this character.
Well, Monkey, you're missing a beat here, because one of my favorite parts of this movie is the part where they go to Thanos' hut after he's accomplished everything. He's just kind of sitting there, like he's just kind of retired. He's done exactly what he wanted, and they beat the shit out of him, ask him if he still has the Infinity Stones, but he doesn't anymore. They can't reverse everything that he's done, and Thor can kill him, and he does. And that's a great moment where the audience is like, yeah, they got him. But then, like, that doesn't reverse anything.
No.
Like, I love that, like, emptiness of, like...
Yeah, he got empty revenge, and it didn't make him feel any better.
And that is the kind of awesome, like, kind of nuanced thing that this movie brings to the table here that I just absolutely love. I loved that.
Man, the audience laughed so hard when he cut off his head and he said, "I aimed for the head this time." They were just laughing out so hard. Did they cry? Did they enjoy it for you as well?
I mean, I think the audience had bloodlust to watch Thanos fucking die. But
bloodlust.
I mean, yeah.
Asterios, what were you gonna say about Thor?
Oh, I was going to say, when I saw Fat Thor, I had the same exact concerns, because often in a time jump, something you do, like, there's a lot of media that will be like, cut to 1 year later, cut to 5 years later. Like, DC recently put out like a series called like 1 year later. And they did the same thing with 52. Battlestar Galactica jumps 1 year in the future during Gaius Baltar's presidency. one of the easy ways to establish that a character has changed is that you make them fat. You see it all the time. Like Lee Adama in Battlestar Galactica, he goes from like a hot male ingenue to a big fat mess, and it's often just not you. It's so easy. It's like because it's an easy visual signifier. But I love that he was. I love that they made it much deeper. Like the scene where he meets his mom, the scene where he talks about losing everybody. Like they still use the fact that he's fat for plenty of fat jokes, which I also enjoyed.
Well, let me ask the panel this. I've seen a lot of think pieces saying the film has a lot of fat shaming because of Thor's comedic character. So, as a person of size, Florian, please tell me, how did this affect you?
A POS.
Wow, amazing.
You're the Izakino resident person of size, so I wanted to ask Florian's opinion.
That's amazing. Well, I gotta say that Thor
Were you
is
offended
the
by
perfect...
this character?
Yes. well,
the scene when Thor eats a whole corn pizza, you're like, wow.
You're doing it to me right now. Oh no. All right, so Thor symbolizes this whole Avengers franchise. He just got so fat and bloated with so many pointless heroes, so many pointless stories going on at the same time. Oh man.
Florian,
all he can do now is just crack stupid jokes, and that's all he's been reduced to.
Florian, I feel like we haven't gotten enough of your perspective tonight. It sounds like you're really down on the movie. Do you want to elaborate a little bit more on that?
Well, I have one more rant to do about Captain Marvel. I don't know if that'll fit in right here.
I think me and Asterios are ready to hear it.
Let's do it.
I bet you are. Well, the thing is, I don't care if she's a woman. Obviously, I mean that's
I don't
fine.
know. Alt-right guys 5 years ago cared, so you must care too, Florian. I don't know.
I mean, even if anything, that's better because it's hot. But Captain Marvel was a shit tier character. Okay, she was just the worst thing that ever happened to the Marvel universe, and it's definitely the worst thing that happened to Marvel Endgame. What the fuck is this character even doing in this movie? She is completely overpowered, and she completely refuses to take part in the action until the very end. What the fuck is the point of that? They call her to Earth, she does nothing. She goes away because there's earthquakes, and then they don't call her back. Was that a mistake? Didn't they call her back? Would she have come back? Why didn't she just stick around? I guess they just forgot to call her again. Is that really what happened?
I think
is that a joke?
I think Joe and Anthony Russo wanted nothing to do with that character, and the studio executives said, "No, you have to include this character." And they didn't know what to do with her because, she is fucking Superman magic powerful. So they had to write her out of the movie for 98% of it. And it kind of makes you wonder, is she really that much of a hero? The entire universe is at stake and she wants to go help other planets that are having earthquakes? What the fuck? We have the potential to reverse the snap and you're going to go fuck off to a different planet? What are you doing, you stupid moron?
I don't know if she knew about this time travel plot. I think she left before they did any of that time travel stuff.
And she just gave up. She just left.
Well, she wanted to become like the universe's Avengers. Like the thing she always said was Earth has superheroes, other planets don't, which is true. I mean, we see Hala, we see both the Kree homeworld, or what's the name of the homeworld from the original Guardians of the Galaxy, the one where they stick the Power Stone. Is that Hala?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, Hala doesn't have any superheroes. I mean, the Kree kind of have superheroes, but their superheroes are dicks because they killed all the Skrulls.
Damn. Well, I still got more to say, by the way, but go on.
No, you finish your rant, Florian.
No, sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no problem. Okay, so essentially, I don't know. Does that make any sense? I guess they forced her to be part of it, but then why didn't they just do it cool? Why didn't they just make her right? All they had to do was make it so they have a cool ass fight with Thanos, and then at the end of it, he lets them know he's actually destroyed the stones. Instead, he's just there and he's pathetic. They're pathetic. Everyone's pathetic, and Captain Marvel fucks off to another planet. Why didn't they just make a cool ass fight where he kills Captain Marvel?
Whoa!
And then when they snap the fingers, she's back. Why didn't they just do that? You'd have a perfect explanation why she isn't here, and she could still kick as much ass.
No, Florian, you're fucking what? You want Thanos to kill Captain Marvel in the beginning of the movie?
Yeah, so they can bring her back.
That is not his role in the beginning of his movie. He fucking did the thing he was supposed to do. He's happy. He's like he's like complete. That he's done the thing.
Yeah, well, that's too
No,
bad, though,
like-
isn't it? Because you've made a Superman and you've made a Thanos, which is the only other character powerful enough to kill her. So now you're gonna either
But
have
the
her
point-
suicide for no good reason, or
The
she's
point
gonna
is,
die.
you have this superpower. You have Captain Marvel, and she can't bring those people back.
Well,
Like you have all that power, and it's not actually going to help you here.
Speaking of Thanos sort of being, as Florian said, sort of, down in the dumps, boring at the beginning of the movie, or whatever you're saying. I have a fan theory, folks, that Thanos is the most pure soul in the universe, folks. As we saw during the big final fight scene, he was able to lift Stormbreaker, but only those pure of heart can lift those Thor weapons. How could this be? Is Thanos actually pure of heart? Let's take a look. They say, folks, and correct me if I'm wrong, I might be misquoting this, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Am I wrong? Is that a saying, E-Rich?
That's a saying, yeah.
That is a saying.
Guess who had absolute power? One
Superman.
Mr. Thanos. He had the Infinity Gauntlet, but it did not corrupt him absolutely. Instead of ruling the universe as an omnipotent god with these stones, he did his mission. He thinks he balanced and saved the universe, and he destroys the stones. Who among us can say if we had infinite power, we would use the power to destroy the power? None of us could fucking say that. The level of restraint and self-discipline it must have taken for Thanos to destroy those stones when he could have just ruled with an iron fist indefinitely. I think from his point of view, and really from the point of view of his inner determination, he's the most pure of all of us. Am I wrong?
I honestly
Wow.
do think that Thanos is one of the best characters in the MCU. I mean, forget being the best villain. Like, being the best villain in the MCU is like being the hottest girl in Cleveland. Like,
Valedictorian of sorts.
yeah, but the thing about Thanos is, even when he loses, like, Tony Stark gets the glove, snaps away all of Thanos' forces. Like, does Thanos like bitch and moan about it? Does he like jump up and down and go like, no, my plans? Like, no. He just sits down, takes off his helmet, and like accepts his fate. Like, when Thanos does exactly what he says he's gonna do, he snaps away the glove, saying that its continued existence would only tempt him, and he becomes like a quiet farmer on a quiet planet. Which is why when they kill him, Florian, it's like, it's supposed to be like a representation of their impotence. It's like, yeah, we killed Thanos and it changed nothing. This guy was just like a quiet farmer chilling out with a fucked up face, and we killed him. We cut his goddamn, like, we snuck up on him in his house and cut his head off, and we felt nothing, because, like, as kind of a representation of just how badly Thanos won.
Do you have a
Well, I
response,
guess that's
Florian?
pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
Well, I still think that Captain Marvel being in the movie didn't make any sense, though. I don't know how you would how you would fix that on any
They
level.
literally called her at the end of the last movie.
Okay. On the same note of getting revenge against Thanos when he's not hurting anybody anymore, they bring up, when they're talking about time travel, they indirectly bring up the idea of killing baby Hitler. And Professor Hulk, who I think we'll talk about Professor Hulk in a second, he sort of seems, he's against the idea of killing baby Thanos to prevent all of this from happening. Am I the only one who thinks it's a little strange? I think killing baby Thanos so that he can't exterminate trillions of people, I think that's pretty justified. Personally, I would strangle baby Hitler. Am I wrong here? Would anybody here not kill baby Hitler?
I mean, I would kill baby
guess it
Hitler
makes
if
sense.
it worked. But I mean, in the rules of this time travel, like, killing baby Hitler doesn't work. Like, baby Hitler's brother Shitler just takes over. Like, you get, like, in the rules of this movie, you can't
Just
change the
that part.
past.
Does that even happen? I honestly don't even understand the rules of this movie, because they obviously changed the past by taking all this stuff and by killing Thanos. I mean, Thanos killed, I don't know how many people before he got the Infinity Stones. What happened to that?
Well, the way that bald wizard lady explained it, it's not that you're not changing the past, it's that when you change something, you're opening up a different timeline. So so they're creating a timeline where Thanos never existed. The main timeline, I guess, will be unaffected, but still, It's not so bad having a timeline where Thanos is killed as a baby and none of this happens.
So why did they bring back the Infinity Stones then? I guess if they
Because,
didn't have any obligation.
The Hulk didn't want to create 6 bad timelines and curse everybody from those alternate realities, so they.
Oh wait, no. Turns out you're wrong because
Turns
Captain
out I'm
America,
wrong.
Yeah, Captain America traveled back in time, and he traveled back to the same timeline. So no alternate timeline there.
Well, he went back and gave all the stones and Thor's hammer back at the exact moment that they were taken away. So he
So
he
nothing
undid
changed.
those alternative timelines, and then I guess back in time in the original timeline, he just sat back and didn't do anything as all the
but
as
where's
Bucky killed
Thanos?
Tony's parents and all this shit. He just sat there and let it happen.
But wouldn't Thanos have been dead as well? Because
Eh.
he came back from the past.
Well, I think
he
the
never
mistake
was
we're
returned.
making is assuming that the movie actually makes sense. But I
I know,
think
right?
from a critical point of view, there are many time plot holes that the movie cannot hope to justify. But I don't want to focus too much on that.
My problem
I'm
is
fine, I
like everybody
guess.
who dies in this movie, you could just pluck them from out of time, bring them to the proper timeline,
Right.
and let them live out their full like life, like Black Widow, like Tony, like Vision. All these people you could just bring back and then de-age them, which we saw happen in this fucking movie.
Yeah.
So they're the same age, and then just let them die when their time is over. Like I hate that they opened up that possibility because it's now it's just like, oh, well, I can't really be sad about Black Widow because if they want to use her again, they can just pluck her out of time.
Well, they're
Yeah,
obviously
I
not
was-
gonna do
oh,
that.
sorry. Sorry, Florian. I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, they need this very rare particle, and the guy who made the particle is dead. But can they bring the guy who made the particle back? Are they gonna use time travel? I guess they're gonna forget about time travel altogether, though. To be honest, I guess it just doesn't fit into the universe
Well,
too well.
I mean,
Because it
The
would
way
just
that time
end
travel
up
works in this
infinite
movie,
problems.
and I like with the whole Pym particle thing. Let's say Pym particles exist on April 1st, 1980. You could go back to April 1st, 1980, get all the Pym particles you want. Then go back in time 1 minute, grab the 10 same particles again. Go back in time
Right.
1 minute, grab them. So you could have an unlimited supply just by going back in time 1 minute every time.
Mm-hmm.
Such magic.
You could have 80 copies of the Infinity Gauntlet with all of the stones, given the time travel rules in this movie. But Asterios, what were you going to say?
Oh, I mean, you're absolutely right. And the other thing is, Hank Pym is still alive. Like he's
Yeah.
at Tony Stark's funeral, and also now he has his wife, who's also a good scientist. It is kind of problematic that they left everybody with the ability for infinite time travel.
Yeah.
I wish that they hadn't have brought Gamora back because. If you can bring, and I get that she's time displaced Gamora from 2014. Like, I understand that, but like, there is a place where Gamora and Black Widow are still alive. It's called Soul World.
Right.
Like, the Soul Gem, like, when you get killed in the Soul Gem, your soul goes into this place called Soul World. Adam Warlock, who they introduced at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, like, he can navigate it. To bring back Gamora but not bring back Black Widow is weird, and it sticks out to you. I kind of feel like they could have dodged and avoided it.
Yeah,
Well, they
you
didn't
open up
bring her
too much of a
back.
Pandora's box where anything can happen now if they want to write it that way, and people can ask those questions and not really be properly rebuffed. What I want to know about this whole thing is, so in order to get the Soul Stone before Thanos gets the Soul Stone, Natasha has to be thrown off the cliff, and then Clint gets it. But then when Captain America comes back to give it back, that's an entirely separate Soul Stone from the one that Thanos got. How do you give this thing back?
And do you think it's awkward, Captain America and Red Skull meeting up again?
Yeah. I also think that's weird that we didn't see that.
That's
You'd
really
think that
funny.
would be an interesting meeting. Yeah.
It's like, oh man, I didn't realize you would be here. This is a little awkward.
Yeah, right.
Here's your stone back.
Well, I guess he can't be killed now.
Yeah.
What
But like
are you
the
gonna
entire
do?
thing is like essentially by changing that thing, I don't understand why Thanos can't just like come up and take that stone that they already technically got out. And
I don't know how they
wouldn't have had to
can-
kill Gamora. I think you could say that Red Skull put it back into Soul World somehow, but I'd like somebody to tell me that. Like, I'm just the pedantic nerd who needs to be calmed down by Xena Warrior Princess today to say just a wizard did it. When you say something like that, a wizard did it.
I don't know how they can.
Wizards.
Shit. Sorry, I'm having a mic
man.
difficulty.
You okay,
What a
monkey?
special movie.
My
Is
mic
monkey dead?
my Discord mic keeps turning itself off for some reason. But, it's
jeez.
okay. I don't know how any of these Marvel movies can ever have stakes ever again. Now that there's a man who just has time travel particles that I assume people can steal from him. How is Ant-Man 3 not going to be like, oh, there's a problem. I guess I'll just go back in time 20 minutes and stop it. How
Well,
can we
also,
ever
if-
have stakes ever again?
If one of the stones is a time travel device already, don't you go for that one first and then use that one to help you get the other ones just in case something goes wrong? It's dumb.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do? What'd you
Yeah.
guys think of the scene where Hawkeye and Black Widow are trying to commit suicide before the other one does? I really enjoyed that.
I mean, if you just write that down on paper, it's hilarious. Black Widow and Hawkeye compete to kill themselves first.
Yeah, it's like
Like,
my
that's
favorite idea ever.
Man, I think they should have just both died though. That would have been way funnier.
I think it went
Wow.
on too long, and the inherent drama to that scene kind of drained out of it because it was being played as a comedic scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mind that it was so long because that's a relationship that like they established really well in Avengers 1.
Mhm.
Like, you know, Black Widow has killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
And Hawkeye's like, but you're still cool because you're trying to help now. And now it's like the reverse.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, that was something that really wasn't touched on well in Avengers 2 at all. Avengers 2, by the way, I think is terrible. I don't know if you guys think Avengers 2 is bad, but I think Avengers
I
2
like
is
it. I like
I
it.
like
I
it.
rewatched all of the Avengers movies before Endgame, and I think Avengers 2 is much better after seeing the movies that came after it because you realized what it was doing for like the whole narrative of the series. But
Mhm.
as a standalone, when it first came out, it was very disappointing to me. But I like it a whole lot more now.
There's a scene where Hawkeye tells Scarlet Witch, like, I am a dude with a bow and arrow running around shooting robots. None of this shit makes sense, but when you go out there, you're a hero. And I love that scene. So
Well, I think
I think.
Let Asterios go. We
Sorry.
keep cutting him off.
No. I mean, just generally speaking, I thought that scene was amazing. I just, it's just this movie did so much to develop Black Widow, and I hope they bring her back, and I hope they bring her back in an interesting way that we've never seen before. Because like, this is the first movie where I'm like, oh, I get Black Widow now. Like, I get it. Like, she does everything out of guilt, and she feels this like huge sense of duty, and she has kind of like Thor, like she has the world of the like the weight of the world on her shoulders. Oh, and now she's got to die. Like, I was just learning about you.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, my favorite ones are Avengers 1 and 2, and then the Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. I wasn't really a fan of Infinity War and
Oof.
Endgame. Yeah, I gotta say.
Yeah, I
But
need to hear more about this. All we do is we've basically been sucking this movie's dick. I want to hear all the reasons why you hate this movie, Florian.
Well,
Yeah.
ironically, this one is actually way different from Infinity War, and I still don't like him that much as much as the Avengers and the Guardians, because the Avengers and the Guardians, they were just self-contained movies that were just really engaging all the way through. Infinity War was just a complete mess where there was just action the entire time, and there was barely a moment where it wasn't just some new random superheroes appearing and fighting. And then in this one, I guess it's got a whole different tempo, but it's still too long for it to have such a slow start.
Guys,
So I guess-
I have a confession to make. This might be controversial. I might get kicked off of Kino for this one,
Oh
but
boy.
as I was rewatching all the Avengers movies, I kind of didn't like the first Avengers, folks. And I think it's because I think it's become a little bit trite. I think the stakes might have seemed big back in 2012, but compared to all the other movies now, it was so like low stakes to me. And all the characters, the way that Joss Whedon wrote them, they weren't really characters. They were just like literal quipping machines, and it was almost nothing but. It feels like such a shallow movie to me in retrospect, and I almost like Avengers 2 better. I'll put that out there.
wow, okay. I really love the Avengers, not because of like how it looks or anything, but just because of the writing of the characters.
Yeah.
So maybe when I go back to it, I'll look for that and see if I see it the same way.
Yeah, I think
Don't-
after
don't they
Infinity War and
quip as
Endgame,
much?
it's a much weaker movie, really.
Wow.
Don't they equip as much in Avengers too? I know there's the scene where the guy says shit and then he gets shit for it the entire time.
Yeah. Which,
I mean, that was painful.
that's a stupid fucking line. In what world is a World War II veteran gonna be upset about cursing? Or are you fucking kidding me? He went through basic training. That's all they ever do is cuss.
He's a Boy Scout, though. Like that's the entire
I don't
part
know.
of the character.
World War II veteran fighting Nazis. He can't handle the word shit. Come on. I think that was a bad quip on Joss Whedon's part.
Yeah, that was fucking terrible. But
the
best thing is though that they finally do the big question, the question of the AI that will one day replace us and destroy us all. And I'm glad they had a moment where they did that, at least, even if it just turned out to be just another one of the guys. In the end, he became Vision, right? I guess that was too bad. But
why else did you hate the
Robot
movie
Uprising.
though? Why else did you hate this new movie?
Well, this one, I don't know. I felt it was so anticlimactic, and they just
Whoa,
spent
what?
all this time. Well,
It's the most climactic movie ever made.
Undoing the past. Well, how is it though? I mean, if in Lord of the Rings they just use time travel to undo the enslavement of Middle Earth, how would that add to the stakes in any way?
Yeah,
I think that's just really cheap, and they could just do it as much as they want. They could just use the time travel to get infinite time travel, and then they would never have any problems. And they don't even take it seriously when they travel back in time.
Boys.
Hey.
All of those time travel questions fall away when Captain America calls Thor's hammer to his hands and starts using both the shield, the hammer to fight Thanos. Holy shit!
Hell yeah!
I guess
Asterios,
that
what are your
was
thoughts
fun.
on this?
What is it? I mean, generally speaking, Mumkey, I agree with you that maybe Avengers 1 doesn't hold up. I think it's probably just because it's been so ripped off.
Yeah,
Like
by the Marvel movies themselves, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also by DC. I mean, you see, like Justice League is. I like Justice League. Like, it wasn't amazing. I didn't think it was like a work of art, but I was like, this is a fun popcorn movie. And Justice League is ripping off everything from the Avengers, even Joss Whedon. I remember a long time ago when I saw like Citizen Kane in film school.
Boring.
I was kind of like, this movie sucks. And then I thought, oh wait,
It does.
this movie sucks because it invented movies.
Yeah.
Like, the reason this movie feels like tonally inconsistent is that, well, before this movie there was no such thing as tonal consistency.
Yeah.
So like, you kind of, I think that Avengers is kind of like of its time.
Like Avengers,
call it-
Asterios Kokonos believes Avengers 2012 is the next coming of Citizen Kane.
oh, definitely.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
I think this movie though, like, I don't know I'd call it anticlimactic because it has like the biggest climax in the history of superhero movies.
Actually,
it also had the biggest build-up in the history of movies. God, could you imagine if this was the new Citizen Kane and all we get from now on is just stupid quipping superheroes from now till the end of time? Well, could you imagine if that was movies from now on?
I talked to a woman who said the same thing, that she felt it was anticlimactic. Like, she was a huge fan of the Marvel movies, but she just felt like she knew how everything was going to end up, and the movie really didn't surprise her at all.
I can't even imagine what more they could have done. It was as much climactic as it was like fan service climactic.
Mm-hmm.
You get the I think proper character resolutions to Iron Man, to Captain America. You get logical progression for Thor, and he well, I don't know. Do you guys like Thor abandoning his people after all that to go adventure across the galaxy?
It seems like Thor.
Okay.
Yeah, that seems fine.
You got Hulk coming to terms with his Hulkness. I mean, what more what did people expect? Florian, what would have made this more climactic for you?
Well, I mean, I don't see how this makes how this makes it any better to you. This is like they dropped the ball in like 10 years ago, and now they finally picked it up again, and you're applauding them for it. Yeah, we get a conclusion to Iron Man now after 10, 20 years. Is that really great?
Yeah, it's the end of his arc.
Know.
Yeah, and also because we've had 5 or 6 movies he's been in since then, man.
But I still didn't like it because they won the movie basically by using cheats. They just used I mean, it's as if you play a game and then you just write a cheat code that lets you beat the final boss, and that's it.
Well, let me ask you
That's
this,
basically
Florian.
all we saw.
You think that time travel is cheating?
Well, yeah.
Need I remind you, the Avengers, Scarlet Witch destroyed the stone in Vision's head, and Thanos cheated by using time travel to get it back. Could it be that they used his own cheat codes against him, Florian?
Well, but he destroyed the cheat codes, damn it. They should have been destroyed.
Not
He
too
did
bad.
the world a favor by
bad.
destroying the cheat codes.
Now you
Why
can't
did
say
it
time
work?
travel's not fair when Thanos did the same shit in the last movie.
I would agree that I mean, you know, time travel I think can be cheap in a movie, but like it's not always cheap. Like yeah, I mean, think of what we got thanks to time travel. Like we got a scene where like Thor gets to talk to his mom one last time. We got
Actually
a
make the
scene.
Dark World interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Hilariously, on Boomer versus Zoomer, I told Monkey Jones the only one of these movies I've never seen is Thor: The Dark World, and Monkey said, "Oh, you don't need to see it. I doubt it's going to have any effect on this movie."
Yeah, and they
Damn.
even brought back Natalie Portman. That's how important
Yeah.
it was. Like the worst Marvel
major-
movie is a major plot thread in this film.
A major plot element of this film is a talking raccoon sticking a fucking crazy device up Natalie Portman's ass to get the red stone out of her.
Which, folks, I don't want to bring up too many plot holes, but I specifically remember in Thor: The Dark World, the most brilliant Asgardian doctors and scientists had no idea how to get the red stone out of Natalie Portman's body. But now, 5 years later, this raccoon just has a device that can do it. What the fuck? What?
Well, they're trying to use Asgardian magic to get it out, and maybe they don't have a way to do that.
They can't invent a syringe. That's all he fucking had. Stupid. Anyway.
Well,
I
everything
mean-
is just really overpowered now. I guess what are you gonna say?
Yeah.
Well,
They
what
break
I
the
mean.
shields? Everything.
Go ahead, Asterios.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, time travel also got us like an amazing scene where Tony Stark gets to meet his dad and then give his dad advice that he would then give him years later. So like time travel you know, time travel finally lets Captain America be with Peggy Carter, which is, I mean, the whole Agent Carter miniseries, like the whole first season of Agent Carter is about like unrequited love and her like trying to protect Captain America's legacy. And all these goddamn movies, it's like all this stuff with like Cap and Agent Carter. So I mean, yeah, like, you know, time travel is like, yeah, it is a cheat. Like, of course it's a cheat, but it's like the game genie of screenwriting. But like what we got out of it was so good that I didn't mind.
I think time travel's only a cheat when it goes flawlessly, but when the villains start using the hero's time travel against them, oh god, what's the name of Gamora's sister?
Nebula.
Nebula and Thanos are essentially Biff in this movie. Like they're the Biff of Back to the Future too, because they find the time machine and they use it to their advantage to change the future. And I think that's what makes it interesting. And also we have, I guess now canonically, Loki has escaped with the Tesseract because they never fixed that. So
No, they have to have fixed it. I mean,
how
they can say that Loki was able to transport into their universe as it is, but if they go back and replace that stone, he never escapes with the Tesseract.
But they're replacing it back in the 70s.
Oh my God, you're
Shit,
right.
You're right.
Yeah. But then,
Well,
but
maybe
then
that
again,
would be the Loki-
Wait. They don't need to go. I mean, they don't need to go back into the 70s if they don't need to go to the
whole
2012,
idea was
do
that they had to return the stones exactly where they got them from, and they got it from the 70s.
Yeah,
but
that's
I think they might have fucked themselves because they never fix Loki escaping with the Tesseract in 2012. But then in 2013, Fat Thor and Rocket Raccoon sneak by Loki's jail cell that he's in. What the fuck?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Oh, damn. How does it all
That's a
work?
separate branched reality, though.
Is it?
No, it isn't.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Every reality has to behave like the other changed realities are not being changed. Otherwise, we would have seen massive changes in those other realities.
Dude,
per
Captain
the other changes.
America. How do
What?
you explain Captain America being old then?
No, that is still part of that. Like, he was always old Captain America, essentially. Like, the future version of Captain America will always
how
have
could he always
traveled
have been
back.
that?
He was
Doesn't
always
make any
Peggy Carter's
sense.
husband. According to this movie, he was always Peggy Carter's husband.
Yeah, but he still used time travel to change the past.
Yeah?
And you said you can't do that.
Wait, so you're saying
No. He has always done that. Like that was always done.
so what you're saying is in the Winter Soldier when Cap goes to see Peggy Carter and she's like an old woman who's about to die, she knows the whole time that Captain America's her. I don't think that can be true.
Nope. That's what they're implying.
That actually
here.
would be funny though, because
you would think after 80 years of marriage somebody would notice that she's married to Steve Rogers. There's no fucking
She
way.
doesn't have to hide out.
Yeah,
he
but she
have to
just
hide.
pretends it. She pretends she doesn't know who this is. I mean, she knows
somebody in the chat.
The old one.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Asterios.
Somebody in the chat wrote, Captain America lived his life in an alternate timeline, and when he got old, he traveled back in his main timeline.
No.
That's what I assume.
That would make way more sense.
Because if you can't change the past, I mean, that's just what like. Honestly, that is what I walked out of there thinking. Like he lived a full life with a Peggy Carter, and then the moment he left that universe, he returned to the Prime universe, and he probably waited till she died, and then was like, I'm out, and then just bailed.
Well, that would have to be it, because as Sorcerer Supreme explained, once you change something, it makes a whole different timeline immediately.
Oh, so basically he did stop 9/11 in that timeline then.
Maybe. He could have.
I don't think that's what's implied though.
It would have to be, because he changed the past, so it made a different timeline.
How is he changing the past though? That's my question.
Because he's marrying Peggy Carter.
We know that Peggy had a husband, but we never know who her husband was.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't.
I assume it was Jarvis.
Jarvis,
because in the Agent Carter miniseries, like her and Jarvis team up, and it's really fun because like Jarvis is like a total wimp and like can't fight or do anything, and like she's always like rescuing Jarvis, and like Jarvis is always getting like damseled and shit. But the thing is, like, Jarvis is really brave and really cares. He's kind of like, what if Steve Rogers never got the serum? He would still be like a weak kind of pussy, but with heart. So I assume she married Jarvis.
Well, there was this other person, William Sousa or whatever, the dude who had the crutches. Do you remember him from the Agent Carter series? She had more of a relationship with him than with Jarvis.
That guy was such a beta, though. I hope she didn't end up with that.
He really was.
Because Jarvis is like hot and British. Jarvis knows Tony Stark's dad.
Jarvis is gay, though.
Whoa!
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
Maybe he'll hook up with Joe Russo's character. Anyway, I want to shift gears and ask. We talk about cheat codes within storytelling with time travel. Let's talk about cheat codes in character development. Did you guys like that the Hulk's most important character developing moments happened off screen? How'd you guys feel about that?
Well, it's part of the 5 years later thing, so I think that's kind of...
Isn't that kind of cheap, though? We have 5 movies that feature the Hulk and Banner sort of conflicting their existences together, and then we just sort of have a movie where they've already fixed it off camera and we never really see them do it.
Well, I think that's the same with Tony Stark, where Tony Stark has settled down, has a kid, and is perfectly happy with his life, but now he has to risk everything that he has gotten in order to save everyone.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
I just thought it was great for the visual gag. I mean that's like another great thing from the comics. Like 2 things from the comics that we haven't talked about yet are, one, like there are versions of the Hulk where he's both. Like I think one of them is named like Joe Fix-It, which is like a version of the Hulk that is as smart as Banner. So, I thought it was neat that like we see Hulk finally at peace with himself. I thought that was cool. And the other thing is, Old Man Cap is also a Marvel Comics character. Like, Old Man Cap eventually becomes the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. and, like, leads New Avengers as just, like, a cranky old man who tells aliens to get off his lawn. Mm-hmm. And so I was just like, there's all this like, this movie was continuity porn.
Right.
And like, as a huge nerd, but like Florian, maybe the reason I liked it a lot more as you is because I just kept going like, I get this, I saw this, I know what this comic is from. like a child would when they recognize colors or shapes.
Well, and
Wow, that's
Asterius,
great.
have you ever read House of M?
Yeah, like I didn't like
Yeah.
House of M.
Oh, you didn't like it? Well, I just like those like alternate reality type stories of like when this huge cataclysm thing happens and then how the characters react to that and then change and different things come of that. So like Fat Thor, Hulk, like getting okay with each other, Tony being able to move past everything, and then like Cap is kind of a therapist for everyone. Like I like seeing like those alternate versions of what they could do without being superheroes.
Yeah, I also loved how Cap kept going like, we've all got to move on, and we've all got to pick ourselves up and change. And he's just lying through his goddamn teeth. He can't move on from Peggy Carter. He goes back in time with magic particles to fuck the girl he could never get over. Like it's
The ultimate
the
incel
first girl he
dream.
Yeah, I mean, he falls in love with her right out of high school. And he fixates on her forever. It's like the only girl he could never have. And he rips the universe apart and creates a branching timeline to fuck
Okay,
the
he did not.
pussy he wanted.
Okay, guys, he did not create a branching timeline because he was sitting on that bench.
No, he went back
Old
to that
Cap
timeline.
What?
Old Cap
No,
went back to that
they were
timeline.
waiting.
Possibly.
No, if he did, then they were waiting for him to appear at that place, the transport pad or whatever. But since he didn't go back there, he didn't use like the time traveling stuff to get back. He sat and lived that life with Peggy and
Well,
was
then it's
in
a
that
huge.
timeline
Then
the whole
it's
time.
a huge 22 movie long plot hole if he's in that timeline as himself the whole time.
I don't think it is.
How the fuck you spend 60 years of your life hidden? Nobody knows you exist.
I don't know.
It's fucking ridiculous. There's no way. There's no way you're married to Peggy Carter, but you never go grocery shopping with her. You hide in your house for 60 years with your fucking windows covered. Come on.
Yeah, he did it for love.
No! That's
Wow.
fucking ridiculous. You can't just put on a ball cap and sunglasses and then be perfect disguised like in all these other movies. Anyway,
It'll be flawless.
speaking of plot holes, and somebody's making a lot of noise. I think it's Asterios.
Sorry, I'll put myself on mute for a sec. Sorry.
Okay. The biggest plot hole of all, and I don't think anybody else has brought this up. In the scene where Hulk dabs, folks. Hulk dabs for the kids, and the kids want an autograph. And the whole joke of the scene is Ant-Man's like, oh, I'm a superhero too. Do you want my autograph? And the kids are like, no, I don't. How the fuck did those kids not want Captain America's autograph? He's right the fuck there. Are you kidding me?
Well, something in those 5 years changed how important Hulk was, obviously.
The kids want Hulk's autograph and not Captain America, not Black Widow. What the? Captain America's had trading cards about him for 30 years now. These kids, they moved on. They want dabbing Hulk. They don't want the greatest hero in the history of their world to take a picture, to have an autograph. It's ridiculous, folks. A literally unwatchable 0 out of 10 garbage movie.
I didn't see Hulk dab. I didn't.
What?
Oh my god.
Yeah, I missed it.
Oh
I
my
saw
god!
Fortnite. I saw Thor playing Fortnite.
Oh, when the kids want Hulk's autograph, he fucking dabbed. It was hilarious.
How long
Wow.
did it
It's
take,
not a
David?
proper dab because he's facing his own. Like his head is pointing in the same direction that his hands are. In order to dab, you'd have to look away. But it's pretty close. It's good for the camera. I think that the Hulk was trying to do like a half dab so that his face could still be visible in frame, but it wasn't a complete dab.
Well, I think it's like when your dad wants to seem like he's cool, so he tries to dab to fit in with his kids. But the Hulk, of course, is awkward Bruce Banner, doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. So maybe he thought that was a genuine dab.
That's true. I mean, he's super brilliant, but we also know he's kind of socially awkward.
Yeah, very much.
Regardless of its dab status, I did enjoy that the Hulk at least made the attempt to do a proper dab.
Yeah. Pretty in character.
Do you guys have any other thoughts on the Hulk in this movie?
Oh man, I have no idea how to feel about him. I guess it's weird that they skipped this, but I'm also fucking tired of Hulk just being these two characters, and I guess it's good that he's finally one character, so that's cool.
I think it's interesting that it's set up that the Hulk and Bruce Banner are two separate entities that have sort of fused together to be one perfect being. But when Sorcerer Supreme knocks his soul out of his body, the soul is just Bruce
Banner,
Banner.
yeah.
Does that imply that the Hulk does not have a soul, or that the true Hulk Bruce Banner is Bruce Banner himself? What do you guys think of that?
The Hulk is just an extrapolation of the gamma radiation that's in him, that he transforms into this thing. Like, he doesn't transform back into Hulk ever. I think the arrangement he's made is essentially to be half Hulk, half Banner, that has all of the requisite. But I think he could go back to being Banner if
So
he
his
wanted
true
to.
self is still Bruce Banner completely.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think it's essentially like Hulk probably gets angry when Hulk's not out. So the compromise is to have them both kind of be.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why he's always angry. Damn. Well, maybe Hulk is just his body now, and he's just the soul. I don't know. Maybe this is the way it works.
Florian, I don't mean this like I'm not trying to like put you on the spot. It like, are you just not a huge fan of superhero movies, like in general? Like are there like maybe only a couple that you kind of like?
Well, I like the Avengers. No, actually, I watch every superhero movie. I actually do enjoy them, but I think that the cinematic universe has never really lived up to the animated universe. There's so many good Batman movies out there that the Avengers stuff just doesn't compare in my mind. I guess it's just too bad. Just all human actors. I don't relate to that. I want to see animated stuff.
That's
No,
fair.
I totally hear you. I mean, I think that like I don't know if anything in any of these Marvel movies is as good as the stuff in the Dark Knight trilogy. Like, I think the Dark Knight trilogy is kind of this like once in a lifetime confluence of like high
wow.
art and superhero shit.
I think they could have stuck the landing a little better.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think those movies are perfect. It's just I think the highs are so high. Like, I remember watching the Dark Knight Rises, and all of a sudden we're in like a Gotham City that's been taken over by Bane, and there's a bomb driving around in the back of a garbage truck. And I remember, and the federal government doesn't want to let people go over a bridge. And I'm watching this, I'm like, what the fuck?
They send every single cop in the city into the sewers.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was just insane,
Yeah.
But I like these Marvel movies just because I don't enjoy going out to see like dark, depressing shit. Like, I'm not like, life is super depressing, so I like going to a movie and just seeing friends joke around and fool around with magic time crystals.
I just want to see friends joke around, say the same things they said the last two movies, and fight each other.
I want to make some predictions. I want us all to predict where we see the MCU going next. My prediction for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, folks. 3. I have 2 predictions for it. 1, we're going to get some sort of montage of Thor and Star-Lord exercising together, so then Thor is no longer Fat Thor. Prediction number 2, the plot of the film is, like you said, Asterios, or maybe it was E-Rich, there's that Adam something guy.
Adam Strange.
Wait, Adam who?
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. That's DC.
Adam Warlock. If
That's
he can navigate the Soul World, I think the plot will be Star-Lord trying to get his Gamora back, because they did tease at the end of Guardians 2 Adam Warlock coming soon. So if that's really what he can do, I wouldn't be surprised at all if that was the plot of the 3rd movie.
Yeah, I think that'll happen.
I think Thor should just become fatter Thor. I think he should just become as round as possible.
He should become like Choji in Naruto, and all his powers are based on being fat.
The best thing ever.
Human boulder! And he just rolls into people.
I think they have to be small scale again. I think Marvel has to start building things back up rather than like keeping on with a huge Avengers stakes every 2 or 3 movies type thing. So like really invest in this new team like Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Spider-Man, and Captain Marvel, and kind of like build a new team out of those kind of core characters now.
Lots of great characters in there too.
Yeah.
Asterios, do you have any predictions for future films?
Well, I mean, we're definitely going to see a Black Panther 2.
Yeah.
That movie made so much goddamn money.
Yeah.
And also, when Black Panther showed up, he got like the loudest cheers out of anybody in the theater.
Wow.
I mean, I was seeing it in New York City. Like, so I imagine that we're going to send Black Panther to space
Whoa.
in the next movie. What else is gonna happen? I think Ant-Man is gonna put together like a small team of Avengers to do some sort of like microverse heist. You
Mhm.
know, it's gonna be like the Fast and the Furious only with, like, maybe he'll get Loki. I assume he's gonna find some kind of like grayer characters from the Marvel
Wow.
universe to like go on some sort of microverse time heist, microverse particle heist, and then finally, after we see the new Spider-Man movie, whatever the next movie is gonna introduce mutants because they have to start doing that soon.
Because now they have the X-Men because they bought Fox.
And the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, no.
Like Marvel has been bending over backwards to make Inhumans their mutants, and it's just not the same. The
No, it's not
Inhumans they're shittier. I'm sorry. The Inhumans are shittier than the
Fucking
mutants.
magic fart cloud that makes Inhumans. Fuck all that shit.
Yeah, and they get caught up in like a chrysalis of this, and it's the Terrigen crystals. It's just like,
Yeah.
Speaking
it's
of
not as
the
cool.
Speaking of the new Spider-Man movie, here's something really interesting to me is that all the characters who got snapped are the same age they were, but now it's the year 2023. So at least half of Peter's class at school is now 5 years older than him. They've all graduated. I think it's interesting that we see, I guess in the trailer for the new Spider-Man, all of his closest friends evidently also got snapped. It seems very coincidental. But I'm curious how they will deal with this, because surely it'll be brought up and we'll have some world building in the new Spider-Man of what it's like being the same age when the rest of the world is aged 5 years around you.
I hope they don't ignore that. I really hope that they do something with that.
They have to, I think.
That are soon to come, but I don't know. I don't know that they will. I hope, but
it's so bizarre. Like half of his class is 5 years older. Like they're at college now. I don't know. It's a weird scenario. How does the world change? If we thought half of people disappearing was an apocalyptic moment, what's it like when those people reappear as they were 5 years later? And when Tony did his snap, it only fixed those who were snapped. What about when Nick Fury sees a helicopter crash? Probably a lot of people died from that. They didn't bring back those people. All the people who committed suicide.
Themselves.
All the suicides. The world is not really that fixed. It's still kind of horrible.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for them to have this conflict that Thanos was worrying about, how there's too many people and too few resources, and now all the people are back and the resource production is not kept up, and now they're going to have an amazing war. Maybe that'll be the next thing.
I think things would be even worse than this movie is letting on, because if half the entire population appears, and then like geopolitical, like you'd have to assume that there are some countries of people that most of the people in that country disappear.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's more fair than that. I don't think it would do anything like that.
But, like, the snap doesn't go country by country and say half here, half here, half here. It like the laws of like
of true random
say that of truly randomness means that there's one country where nobody got snapped and there's one country where everybody got.
I don't know if it's that extreme, but one thing that kind of thing. I've seen a lot of fuckers on Reddit saying, really, 5 years later Fortnite is still relevant? That's absurd. And I'm thinking half the population was just fucking exterminated. You think humanity's main concern for those 5 years is making new video games? What the fuck are you? What? Of course they're playing Fortnite. No, Squid Invaders has not come out because Florian was fucking snapped.
No.
What else are they gonna? You think they're gonna make new games in the wake of everybody being dead?
If anything, they're all going to play Fortnite because it gives them nostalgia feels for a time before the snap.
Sure.
Is Thanos?
Yeah, I think Korg has a lot of nostalgia.
Is Thanos in the Marvel Universe version of Fortnite? That's what I want to know.
That's a good point. That is a good point. I do have another. I don't want to go too off track of what we were just saying, but I want to ask because I sort of had a problem with it. Thanos was in Infinity War the most compelling villain, if not character, we've seen thus far. I feel like in the second half, when we go to 2014 Thanos, I feel like they've really dumbed down his character a lot. He doesn't feel as complex or deep. And I also find it absurd that 2014 Thanos with no gauntlet is stronger than Gauntlet Thanos. Did you guys pick up on that? Did past Thanos seem a little too powerful compared to full Gauntlet Thanos?
Well, I don't know if he used the gauntlet much in the fights. I think his power was his own. He just used the gauntlet for specific magic every once in a while.
Well, the way I see it, Thanos and Iron Man fought one-on-one, and Thanos had the glove that gives him infinite power. And Iron Man one-on-one managed to scratch him and make him bleed. But then we have Thor with two of the most powerful weapons in history, Captain America with his shield, and Iron Man again. And all three of them are like wiped out almost immediately by Thanos.
Well, he still had his army as well. Did he use them?
No, just Thanos himself was able to take down those three when in the previous film Iron Man went toe-to-toe with Thanos when he was much more powerful. I feel like they just power creeped him retroactively, very strangely. I feel like 2014 Thanos was too strong.
Ironically, they also power creeped Captain Marvel that much, but then he kicks her ass easy enough, so I guess that was at least funny, that she wasn't as strong as Thanos.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
I guess she blew up his whole ship in one go, but then she couldn't face the man himself.
I mean, there's a parallel there between Captain Marvel and Thanos and Superman and Darkseid. And like Thanos and Darkseid are both purple space monster rulers of the universe because they were both created by the same guy. Was that Ditko?
Kirby? Oh, wait,
Kirby,
yeah, Ditko.
I forget if it was Ditko or Kirby that created both of them. Yeah, I mean, there has to be a villain stronger than your strongest hero. And so like when Thanos punched away Captain Marvel without the gauntlet, I was like, oh, good. Like, cause it's, they've got to like establish the rules of this universe. I thought that was pretty well done.
I think it's just wear and tear. I think Thanos in Infinity War was essentially fighting all of the Avengers throughout the entire movie. So he's just going to not be as strong. And Thanos from 2014 is just walking in from being pretty well rested and pretty...
Well, yeah, but he has the Infinity Gauntlet with the Power Stone and all that shit. I would expect that to be the most powerful incarnation of the character.
Yeah, but this Thanos isn't really ripping moons apart or anything in this movie.
Yeah, but he goes toe-to-toe with the main three heroes and doesn't even get a scratch on him.
Well, he did that before as well. He fought Thor and Hulk in the same...
Yeah.
In the starting scene.
But Stormbreaker was made literally to be a Thanos-killing weapon, and it would have killed Thanos in one hit if he would have aimed a little bit higher, but now Stormbreaker is almost completely useless in this fight, and Thor is not going one-on-one. He has two other powerful guys with him. I don't get it. Why was Stormbreaker so ineffective at killing Thanos this time?
All right, this is just comic book shit. This is just, you want to have a fun battle at that time so the character can do.
Well, he only really got in with Stormbreaker because Thanos was distracted. I guess this time he wasn't distracted, that's all.
I remember Thor throws Stormbreaker. Thanos uses the full power of the gauntlet to try to push it away, and he fails. Stormbreaker is so much stronger that it goes and hits Thanos anyway. In this movie, he doesn't have anything. He's like blocking it with a normal-ass sword.
Look, man, it's a fucking movie.
Okay, yeah, that's the typical argument when you're like, "Oh yeah, you got me."
Right.
Well, no, I mean, you're absolutely right. Like in comic books as well, like a character's power will fluctuate depending on the drama. Like when the supervillain has to be weak, he's weak, and when he has to be all powerful, he's all powerful. It's like I mean, maybe we can say that in the Marvel universe, someone's power level is connected to the amount of dramatic tension and irony it would create. And there's like a particle called like screenwritium that like they all depend on. And Tony Stark ran out of screenplayum and died.
Well,
at the end.
You could also say that maybe Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet knows that he has like ultimate unlimited power, so he's not as like he's kind of not he's not at his full power for himself. He's just using the gauntlet more than he's using his own power, essentially.
What did you think of his newfound philosophy after seeing the failure of the snap where he said, okay, I'm going to eliminate the entire universe and start a new one from scratch? Did you guys think that was in line with his character?
I loved that.
Yeah.
Man, I wish that would have been the ending where he just snaps his fingers and then the screen goes black because he's wiped out the whole universe.
That would have been awesome.
That would have been the best ending ever.
Not even any credits because everybody's just gone. There's nobody to edit the movie anymore.
Maybe the credits fade away.
That'd be fucking hilarious.
That was kind of like a flaw for me, but also a character building moment. Like, I mean, after the first movie, everybody said, hey, instead of killing everyone, instead of killing half of people, why don't you use this magic glove to double the resources of the universe? Like, that was kind of like the meme response. And unfortunately, like, that meme response is now valid because it's like, wait, this glove can destroy the universe, create a new universe where no one knows about the old. It's like, then why are you killing half of people just to be a dick? But it's also, oh, sorry.
Well, so
what were you say?
I imagine the magic of the Infinity Glove is whatever you're thinking in your brain, when you snap, that becomes reality, unless you're trying to bring back somebody who died in exchange for the Soul Stone. So Tony Stark, with his one snap, just wishes away all of the bad guys. Man, if you're a real hero, there's so many better things you could have done for humanity with your one snap. Just so many potential life-altering things to just fix the world for everybody.
If Tony didn't reverse the effects of global warming, then he is the villain of this entire franchise.
like okay, I want to snap away all of Thanos' people and also double the resources, but no.
Well, he already died just from doing that, so I don't think he had the power to do anything more than that.
It sounds like you can just have as many wishes as you want.
Well, why would he die then?
Just plug it all into one
himself
snap.
Not dead.
Yeah, it sounds like it's like based on your thought. Like, essentially, if you think, I want all of his army to be destroyed, that's what's going to happen.
Why didn't he think, I wish I was strong enough to snap this 80 times? It's like when you get the magic genie, your first wish has to be for more wishes. Why didn't Tony do that?
Unlimited life, yeah.
I wish I was immortal. Snap. I wish Thanos was gone. Snap. I wish there were more resources. Snap. Easy. What an idiot.
Now we're really cheating, yeah.
Hell yeah.
That is, no, that is absolutely brilliant, Monkey. He should have wished for a gamma body. Like, he should have wished to become Hulk strong, because then he would, or like, he should have been like, I want to be as strong as two Hulks. Because then he could have snapped that glove so many times, he'd be like I don't know, who's someone that snaps a lot? Like the guy, I don't know, is there like a snapping
Scatman
guy?
John.
Yeah, like he could have been like, he's snapping so much, he would have been Scatman Carruthers Stark over here.
Sure.
That's brilliant, Monkey.
Or like,
that's really goddamn smart.
He could have snapped and wished that there were more female-led superhero movies, so that I wouldn't feel like that one scene was shoehorned in.
Exactly, and he would give you your greatest wish for a girl power scene.
A truly egalitarian cinematic universe.
True.
No, he should have wished for only female superheroes.
That's true diversity.
Yes.
I do want to say that, like, just, you know, maybe this is just an obvious thing that we don't need to say, but like, you know, in Iron Man 1, like, he only cares about himself. I mean, yeah, like he uses that scientist help to like get that cool suit of armor, but he still like kind of only cares about himself. And then at the end of the movie, like, he doesn't, at the end of this, like, he does not care about himself, and he only cares about everyone else.
Yeah.
And it's just a perfect arc.
Yeah.
And it even ends with him saying, I am Iron Man. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to say. So, like, in this movie, there are two lines that, out of worse actors, would have landed like a thud. Avengers Assemble.
Oh, I wanted to guess one
I
of them.
am Iron Man.
Oh, okay.
Wait, what?
My guess would have been you were going to say Hail Hydra, which was my favorite line in the movie.
No, that was delivered perfectly. That was amazing when he said Hail Hydra.
Yeah.
That was fan-fucking... That was like... Maybe that's the funniest joke. Is that like the funniest joke in the entire MCU?
I didn't even see it as a joke. I saw it as like the perfectly logical, awesome thing for him to do in that situation.
I mean, yeah, but I think that's why it functions so well as a joke.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's the perfect way out of this thing, and then it's also like fucking hilarious. Captain America is, and like think about like what that puts in the mind of all those guys, where they're like, oh shit, Captain America's Hydra. How deep does this thing go? Wow, Hydra's
we got
really
literally
cool.
everyone. Yeah,
and that was probably my favorite moment in the movie.
Yeah, but what I was gonna say is, like, when you compare like Chris Evans saying "Avengers Assemble" or Robert Downey Jr. saying "I am Iron Man" to most of the dialogue in Watchmen.
Right.
You're gonna
right.
make Florian
It's
turn
kinda
into
like,
a
wow.
Hulk.
A good actor can save a bad line. A good actor can save like a thud of a line.
Speaking
God
of that
damn it.
moment when he says Avengers Assemble, a lot of people have said this movie's a bit of a tearjerker. I want to know from the panel, did any scene or any moment make you tear up? I will admit, folks, I was in awe of the spectacle of when the portals open and every single hero ever comes out. I did tear up a bit. I was like, wow, this is just fucking amazing. Did anybody else tear up in the movie?
I didn't, but only because, again, a bunch of assholes who listen to Boomer versus Zoomer spoiled Black Widow's death for me.
Oh, no.
And they also spoiled
no.
Iron Man's death. I know I would have cried both of those times.
Hmm.
I'm sure of it. I'm positive I would have cried at both of those moments had I not seen them coming. Or had
All right.
someone not told me they were coming.
All right,
But
guys.
but everyone was already saying, "Ooh, Iron Man or Tony Stark did."
Hey, I want
or
to
the
hear
other
why
guy.
Everidge cried, and I think I know why he did.
I am a big softie, and I will cry at the drop of a hat. So, guys, I was ready. I did not cry a single time.
Oh, wow.
I got emotional when Tony was talking to his dad.
Yeah.
But not a tear.
Wow. I'm the
Nothing.
only pansy on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Cry, baby.
I must be. But I didn't cry out of sadness. I cried out of awe. I think that makes me a stronger man than all of you.
Oh no!
I think that's how the rules work.
A man who can express his emotions.
Now, this is a 3-hour movie. We've been going for about 2 hours. So
Mhm.
we're covering literally everything. Even some might say maybe we covered 20-second moments for 15 minutes too long. Some might say that. So my question to you guys is, do you have any other moments or any other things you want to talk about before we wrap this up and say goodbye to E-Rich seemingly forever?
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
even-
Now, let Stereos go.
no, Florian, go ahead. No, Florian, I want to hear from you.
Oh yes, Erich has finally sacrificed himself to bring me back, the Spider-Man. He's the Tony Stark. I'm gonna finally make him proud and take over his role in the Kino podcast. It'll be lovely.
I mean,
I'm sure.
ideally, this podcast will end with Erich saying, Mr. Florian, I
no.
don't feel so good.
Oh, I thought it would be I am E-Rich. I'd say I am That'd be it.
Okay, Asterios, what were you saying?
Oh, I mean, it's like now that Erich is leaving, like I think this might be the perfect time for me to kind of put my candidacy forward. Like,
Whoa.
I think if anything, I've shown like I'm a bigger liberal cuck. Like I'm willing to go for the jugular in a way that Erich is just not. Like, I'm throwing around ad hominem attacks like crazy. Like, if you're looking for an Erich too, I'm your guy. I mean, as long as this guy's out the door, if the door's still open, I want in.
I don't know. My brother Patchy is in the running. Do you think you can compete with you think you can compete with nepotism in Asterios?
Trump did hire his daughter and son-in-law.
I am the most Trumpian podcast host there is, so good luck.
Of course you are.
You gotta let him in one of the Erich tryouts, but only one.
Yeah.
This is your last chance. And you better not rant on about an insignificant moment for half an hour, Mr. Asterios.
Well, I didn't have the chat open during the podcast really at all. So that whole time the chat might have been against me and supporting Asterios. I have no idea. I don't.
Nobody was in favor of Asterios in that moment.
What? Everybody loves me. I'm America's cutest cutie.
Yeah.
You're insane.
Does anybody have any final thoughts on the film?
Well, I do want to mention the Stan Lee cameo in this movie is a de-aged Stan Lee.
Oh, I thought it was the worst one yet. I thought
like
it was such a wasted opportunity. I know they didn't know he was going to die, but Captain Marvel should not have had a better Stan Lee goodbye than the biggest Marvel movie ever made.
Well, the credits with Stan Lee at the start.
Yeah, I think that they should have saved that for this movie. I think it was wasted on Captain Marvel, and this movie didn't even have a credit saying for Stan Lee right at the end. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like they really dropped the ball on Stan Lee here.
What a waste.
Yeah. What were you saying, Asterios?
Oh, I like the "Nuff Said" bumper sticker. I mean, this was not better. I mean, but there is no better Stan Lee cameo than the one in Captain Marvel. Like that's that's the best one. I mean, it is kind of poetic to like send him out in his youth, in his prime, like in a cool car with cool babes, like looking awesome. Like that
Telling
is
the
a
military to
pretty
go fuck themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Like that is what Stan Lee is like.
Yeah.
He was so goddamn liberal. He was like a '60s fuck. But again, like all liberals, he's liberal until it's time to pull out your wallet,
Yeah.
and then he won't pay you what you're worth. He'll steal
Right.
your intellectual property rights.
I
Marvel used to
think
have-
these movies aren't shy about breaking the fourth wall with these Stan Lee cameos, and a lot of people I read online were wondering if there even was one, because he was sort of in like a fake mustache, and he was it was like a 3-second shot. I really feel like there should have been some big, grandiose final Stan Lee cameo in this movie. It seemed really lame to me the way they did it.
What, he gets the Infinity Gauntlet and
Well, no,
snaps
but, like,
everybody back into
think-
existence?
Think about the Spider-Man trilogy. His cameo in Spider-Man 3, I think, is the best one, and I think they should add something more akin to that.
Wait,
What was
that's
this?
the one
What
where
was
they
that again?
basically
Spider-Man
stop the
3.
movie.
In
No,
Spider-Man-
they basically stop the movie so that Stanley can restate to Peter Parker, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, I think that's great.
That's too much. That's too
Oh.
much to me.
I don't think so. I think
That's like breaking the fourth wall,
I
practically.
think that would have been very appropriate for his final film in the greatest monument to his life work.
But it doesn't work to me because it's like, in the context of the movie, that's some random guy stopping Peter on the street and saying that to him, and that would mean nothing. to
Well, yeah,
Peter.
but we as an audience know it's breaking the fourth wall, putting Stanley in there anyway, so why not just keep the wall broken?
Oh, I don't like that.
Well, I guess
I
I
never saw
respect a dead man more than you, Rich!
I like his Spider-Verse cameo better, where he's passing on this costume to the new kid.
Well, they should have done something where they go into alternative realities, and then there's all kinds of crazy ones, and one of them is just Stan Lee everywhere. That would have been the
But
best.
it's revealed in Guardians too that Stan Lee is a watcher who, and like every
Yeah.
cameo of his is like this magical being just watching Earth. They could have at
That's
least
actually the best one.
like resolved that in some way, but like so his final, what we assume is his final ever cameo is just him as some like 70s guy who hates war, whatever.
I think the
I mean,
Guardians of the
Stan-
Galaxy 2 one is best. Sorry.
Oh no, the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 one is really good. That's
Yeah.
good. The Captain Marvel one's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is sad, but at the same time, Stanley did, like, this is how you want someone to go out in their prime, and that's kind of how he went out, like looking in his prime, be it, giving the finger to authority, like that's Stanley in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's fair.
Smiling Stanley.
So I guess the last thing we have to discuss is it kino, folks? Let's go around the horn. Is
Oh, boy.
Avengers Endgame kino? Florian, I want you to start.
Well, I mean, I guess it's exactly as much kino as Infinity War, I guess. So
I actually tend to disagree. I think Infinity War was a much better film, but I think
Wow.
Endgame serves as a good final chapter to a 22 movie series. But I think as just not even standalone film, but as a movie itself, I think Infinity War is almost flawless compared to any of the other ones.
So how can this not be anticlimactic if the other one was better than this?
Oh, I mean, Empire Strikes Back is better than Return of the Jedi, but it doesn't
Is
mean
it?
yeah,
Oh, yeah, I get.
it
Yeah, you're right.
absolutely
It
is.
is.
yeah,
I forgot for a second. Oh yeah, it's the one with the Ewoks. God damn it.
yeah. I wouldn't say Endgame is exactly like a Return of the Jedi, also because I haven't seen it, but
No.
I think I just think Infinity War is such a flawless movie.
I don't think that Infinity War is a flawless movie. Upon rewatching it, I'd say that the best parts of that movie are Thanos, and the rest of that movie isn't great, especially the way it's filmed.
Are you describing
A
the
lot
Dark
of-
Knight with the Joker?
No. Like the Earth parts of Infinity War are very drab looking, and like once those jokes are kind of old, it doesn't work as well, I don't think. So I'd say all the Thanos stuff is great. A lot of the Thor stuff is probably pretty good. Thor with the Guardians of the Galaxy, but a lot of that movie I'm just kind of like over. I'm just kind of bored with.
Hmm.
And I think Avengers Endgame has enough really deep emotional stuff to really make me think that it's probably going to be better than Infinity War. Infinity War has a great Thanos stuff, and then that snap moment is awesome.
Well, and
But
just in terms of just great fight scenes, the best fight scene in any of these movies is them fighting Thanos on Titan when he's throwing moons at them and stuff. This movie didn't have as creative a fight scenes. It instead went for more of a splash page of here's two giant armies fighting, and personally that doesn't really do a whole lot for me in terms of like actual spectacle. I liked the more grounded one guy against 6 heroes and he's fucking using meteor mash and shit on them.
But after a certain point, it just becomes like CGI bullshit.
Yeah,
which is the problem with everything.
Yeah, this movie in that final act kind of gave me vibes of Ready Player One, where it's just a whole bunch of fucking shit on screen.
Right. So like I would agree with you that action scene is better, but I like the character building moments in Endgame much more. And the first hour of this movie is some of the best. Like you feel like you're with these characters as things are going down, and you feel bad for them, and you feel like these are real stakes that are finally coming to pass. And then when a lot of the ends of Endgame stuff starts happening, you really feel how much of a punch in the gut it is to lose Tony Stark. They have a huge funeral scene where fucking everyone in all of these movies is there. There's even the fucking kid from Iron Man 3. And I was looking at this kid being like, who the fuck is that? Because like he's aged in about 10 years, like 6. So
I
he
guess,
doesn't look at all like himself.
I guess the analogy I would make is that Infinity War is kind of like Mad Max Fury Road, where it's just awesome shit happening the whole time. And that's why I liked it so much.
It can't be because Mad Max Fury Road has an intense focus on one
Infinity War has an intense focus on Thanos' journey.
Infinity War is but there's so much stuff with Tony Stark and Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. Like all of these characters that movie has to service kind of distracts from like the
but no character. The only character really with an arc in that movie is Thanos, and the other characters realize, oh, I should have learned how to make a sacrifice. This wouldn't have happened if I knew how to sacrifice. Like Thanos is the only character even with an arc in that movie.
Well, I think Gamora and Peter Quill have some kind of arc in that.
Sure. Okay.
But I think that's one of my bigger problems with that movie is that Thanos is really the only character who you're kind of rooting for or watching them do stuff in that movie. Everybody else gets to do something, but it's usually for like 2 or 3 scenes, and that's about it. I think in Endgame, you're seeing the conclusions of a lot of those characters' kind of storylines. So I think that's more satisfying for me to see that absolute conclusion than in Infinity War when it just kind of like stops at the snap. Like that's essentially the end of that. So
yeah, that's fair. Asterios, is this movie Kino?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a gigantic accomplishment. It's the capstone to look, there have been superhero movies before these Marvel movies, but there have never been like easy going, free flowing, just watchable superhero movies. Like there are like even the original Spider-Man trilogy. Like I like Spider-Man 2 a lot, but I don't want to go back and watch it as much as I do like the original Avengers or Ant-Man.
Whoa. Hold up, fam. You'd rather watch Ant-Man than motherfucking Spider-Man 2?
Yeah, because sitting down and watch Spider-Man 2 is like that's like a day. Like you got to put that on your calendar. But you can just throw Ant-Man on in the background and just be like, yeah, let me do my taxes.
So you're saying you care less about Ant-Man and it's an easier watch?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like it's the same. I don't think Bob's Burgers is as good as American Dad, but I'm not always in the mood to like want to dissect some big issues. Like sometimes I just want to watch like a fun little family fuck around at a burger shop.
I think I'm understanding why you weren't bothered by the female power scene, because you just want like the most shallow, easy to digest movies possible. You don't want to think any deeper about them.
Yeah, it's fan service.
Yeah.
It's like you know, like there are shots of Captain America's ass that are not for me. But I'm like, okay, I hope someone's enjoying these ass shots.
Asterios, that's America's ass.
Yeah. It was specifically pandering to you as an American. They even said it's America's ass in the film like 3 times.
I love how they managed to get his ass in there, from 2 different time periods, 2 different asses.
Well, I think again, that's one of the clever ways that the Russos were sort of I don't know if I would say fixing, if not poking fun at some of the Joss Whedon movie choices, because that costume in Avengers
It's
2012,
terrible.
it's so stupid. Why would he be dressed
Yeah.
like that? Everything else he wears is great. So I like that they make fun of how tight it is on his ass.
Okay, I love the explanation for why it's so bad in the movie. The costume is absolutely horrible in the Avengers, but the reason it's so bad is because Coulson designed it. Like, there is a huge Captain America fanboy who designed a shitty costume, and that's the costume he's using in that movie.
Yeah, it wasn't his explanation that people need a little bit of old-fashioned right now, which is just a stupid explanation.
Yeah,
the helmet he's wearing is not functional. It would be cutting off part of his vision.
He's also got a hoodie thing. Like,
Yeah.
part of it is a hoodie almost.
Stupid. The Winter Soldier outfit is so much better. Anyway.
Well, I think it was a nice ass.
Yeah. Would you say the ass is Kino?
Yes.
Can we
Absolutely.
We can all agree. Asterios?
Oh my God, yeah, it's fantastic.
Okay,
Oh,
do we have,
awesome for you.
for real, do we have any final thoughts, or should we end the Endgame discussion, folks? Are we done?
I think it's time to start saying goodbye to Erich, because he's someone who we all love and he's close to all of us. I mean, this is a show, like, literally, I listen to every episode of Is It Kino. Like, I have an hour and a half long commute in the morning and at night, and so, like, I really depend on podcasts. And I am very, very sad to see you go, because, you know, like, I can make all the jokes about wanting to replace you and all that, but the show that you do means a lot to a lot of people. And so, Erich, it's just going to be really sad to see you go. And I kind of, on behalf of all the fans, want to thank you for all the entertainment you've given us and just all the really cool. Like, I don't always agree with everything you guys say, but it's always really interesting.
Well, you probably agree with what Erich has to say.
No, sometimes he's too on the nose.
So I'm an idiot.
Oh no. Wait, what? You're just on the nose after what you've been saying today?
Yeah, sometimes his stuff, it's just like, it makes me, as a liberal, like, it makes me feel like, ooh, is that what we sound like? Ugh.
Yeah.
Dude, you should listen back to what you said in these two last episodes.
Well, all the great stuff I said, yeah, I know, I'm great.
Oh yeah, just listen to it again. Just make sure there's no sharp objects around.
Well,
I get
I
get secondhand embarrassment listening to myself. So, like,
wow. I think in terms of really the metaphor of this podcast is a lot like Avengers Endgame itself, where it's the end of an era, and much like how Avengers Endgame sort of was a highlight reel of all of the other movies before it, this podcast that's been going on for over 2 hours now is essentially a highlight reel of what Is It Kino has been. Lots of needless arguing about politics and shit, making fun of Asperger briefly. That's a classic Is It Kino thing. I think this is the perfect send-off. It's the ultimate culmination of what Is It Kino has been up to this point. And now that Tony Stark, Erich McCoy, is dying and leaving us, much like how the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going to suffer, I think this podcast itself will suffer deeply.
Shit.
Oh no.
Damn.
Yeah. I think I'm ready to call it quits here. We should do what Marvel should do and just say this is the last one. No more. It's done. It's been fun, but it's over. Goodbye.
Oh boy.
Retire the whole
Florian
show.
will be out of a job. He depends on this podcast for his money.
Yeah, don't throw me out like that.
He needs to buy corn pizza somehow.
If only we could bring this back somehow, damn.
Florian makes $1,000 per episode. How is he going to survive without it?
Holy shit, how do I do it?
I guess Erich, we'll just leave it to you.
Wait, say again?
I said Erich, we'll leave it to you now. I guess this is the end. We'll give you the final goodbye.
Right. It has been so much fun taking part in this podcast. I love talking about movies in general, and I think that I am a huge idiot at times, but this podcast has really helped me to develop the way I do talk about these things, and I feel like I'm a better, more well-spoken person because of it. And I love talking about these movies with Florian, of course, because we did fucking Sunday streams every goddamn week for the past year or so.
Which you just deleted today live.
Yeah, I closed that whole
Thanos.
thing down. So
if you missed it, Erich had a YouTube channel with about 1,200 followers. Him and Florian would do shows every week. And today, during their live stream, Erich deleted the channel.
yeah, I snapped my fingers and it was gone.
That's fucking funny.
I had that for about 1 year and 4 months exactly. So,
do you know how
yeah,
hard I worked to get you to 1,000 subs? I was begging people every day, please subscribe to Erich. And he's like, no, I'll just delete it all.
Pretty good. And Monkey, I gotta say, like, you have been one of the best, most consistent things in my life where I knew that no matter what I was going through and no matter how hard my life was, I could come and talk to you about movies and everything else would just go away for that hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, however long it was. And sometimes I would have to fight Burger during that hour, hour and a half.
Or fight
but
me,
most
get
of the
made fun of
time,
a lot.
Yeah. But most of the time, it was incredibly rewarding, and I just love talking with you about these movies. So it was very important to me. It still is important to me, and it's just something that I get so much joy out of. So
a lot of people don't know this, but this podcast would no longer exist if it weren't for you, Erich, because when my YouTube channels were all deleted, as far as I was concerned, the podcast was deleted too. They didn't exist, but I don't think we ever talked about this. You're the one who painstakingly downloaded every single episode. You paid for the iTunes feed. You put them all up on iTunes. Like that's no joke. That's fucking hours and hours of work that I wasn't willing to do because I was a broken shell of a human being. So this show wouldn't even exist anymore if not for your contribution and your dedication and your hard work.
Right. It was pretty easy, but I did spend a lot of time on it. But it's just a lot of
that. Jeez.
a lot of getting MP3 files out of videos and then just uploading them essentially. But I do care about this. I love being on it, and it's an important part of my life. And I love even just the occasional like, hey, Erich, I enjoy the things you say, or even the occasional I don't like the things you say, but I do like you on the show. Like it does actually like do something for me, and I love hearing it. So thank you everybody there in the chat, everybody I've ever interacted with in comments on the YouTube comment section, and yeah, I've just had a great time here.
Now, Florian, this is your Fry's dog waited for him after he was gone moment. Please give us the biggest tearjerker, sad goodbye to Erich we could ever hope for.
Oh, is this where we reveal that Erich is never gonna leave? Could this be it?
I don't know.
What?
Erich, do you have anything you want to say?
You gave it away, you son of a bitch!
Wait, what? Erich isn't.
It's my moment now.
My heart out and
You motherfucker!
What do you mean you're not leaving?
I'm not leaving. I can't do that.
Now,
Thank God.
let me explain. Because people are going to be.
Is this all some sort of fucking joke? What's wrong with you people?
No, it wasn't a joke. It was because people are going to be mad at me because I've been saying, oh, we're going to get a new Erich competition again. Yeah. I've been doing so many streams, listening to people's submissions, been emailing people back and forth saying, oh yeah, you'll be in the contest. It was all real. It wasn't until literally yesterday Erich said, hey, I think I want to stay on the show. So don't blame me for your hopes and dreams being shattered. Erich changed his fucking mind at the last minute.
Yeah. So I made the decision a couple weeks ago that I wasn't going to stay on the show. I am going to delete a lot of my online presence for the most part, but I feel like a podcast is a different kind of thing where it's just me talking. So I don't feel as bad about being on here, but yeah, I'm...
So what you're saying is we'll see you again in 2 weeks for Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, absolutely.
Erich, at any point when I was giving my goodbye speech, why didn't you stop me and tell me that I didn't have to give it?
It was too good.
How's the chat reacting? I haven't pulled up the chat. Is anybody upset? Great. They want a refund?
They're all saying...
They took back all the nice things they said.
One of them said, I started crying for you. Someone here said, he made me look like a bitch. Erich cucked us all.
This is like if Iron Man walked out at the end of Endgame and said, just kidding, I'm alive.
Yeah, just kidding.
Well, I mean, let's see. If all the people who auditioned were cucked, we got emotionally cucked, fucking cucked. Ebitch cucked us.
Now they hate
You
Erich
should let
more than
them-
ever.
You should let them on the show so they can like yell at me the entire time.
Yeah, we should do a special. We should do Erich McCoy is he Kino, and everybody calls in to say what they think of you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we need to get in all the people who are going to be Erich tryouts, and they need to yell at Erich for not quitting.
Yeah.
We need to have that.
Well, I think with that, this is the end of Is It Kino number? Who the fuck knows how long, how many? You guys want to plug your shit? I guess, Erich, you have a whole YouTube channel to plug still.
I know I got nothing anymore.
Asterios, thanks for joining us. You should plug all your shit.
Thanks for having me. If you like hearing me and Monkey Jones, you should listen to our podcast, Boomer versus Zoomer.
If you enjoyed
it's
the
me
15
and
minutes of me and him arguing, tune into that show because it's nothing but.
I would
my.
never do that on our show. No, I have too much.
Yeah,
respect
you're
for
way
our
more
show. I'm only
charitable on
gonna
there.
do yours. Yeah, you can listen to Boomer versus Zoomer on iTunes or Spotify, Google Play, and also if you go to youtube.com/Asterios, we upload every episode. And so I hope you enjoy.
Cool. I guess for Is It Kino, I've been
Oh.
Monkey Jones.
Oh no, I don't get to shill.
No, you get a shill as you say goodbye.
Oh, okay. Well, I gotta say, now that you can't promote Erich's channel anymore, you can promote my channel a lot more because I hired an editor. And my videos will have a slight increase in quality
Oh,
from
shit.
now on.
Got a
so
Game
watch
Squid
out
on
for
YouTube,
that.
people. Oh, excuse
Yeah,
me.
Game Squid. Oh yeah.
And Erich, I think it's time for you to give your final goodbye, your big send off. We'll never see you again.
I kind of just don't want to come on the next episode, so people think that I was lying here.
Yeah, it's really Schrodinger's Erich. Is he alive or dead? Nobody knows yet.
Yeah,
We gotta open that
did I-
box.
Everything I tell you is a lie, and you don't know.
He's the Loki of this podcast. Who knows? He's a trickster.
Yeah.
All right,
That's
bye
right.
everybody. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.